Good morning. Hello, everyone. Oh, hi. It's all about the hi. We're being rated. About the. Oh my gosh. Oh, I had to like accept this raid message because it has the creepy. It has creep in it, and we blocked the like spider emote that has creep in it. So Twitch is like, no, 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 no. Hello, friends. Welcome on in. Thank you so much for that heckin' raid. Hi, Kaz. Hi, Sephirus. I know you. You're Inep's brother. How was your stream? Welcome on in, friends. Anusha. Hi, Tim. You literally just joined us as we like turn things on, so you have missed nothing. Yes, thank you for that shout out, Jupi. Um, I'm my first time and I'm a criminal. Um, it is you've caught us on our a very unique stream to like join us if you're new here. We are doing Humans of Twitch. If you want to know a little bit more, you can do exclamation point show in the chat and it will tell you a little bit about what we're doing. But basically, we will be interviewing this lovely. Oh wait, camera angles are different on Discord. This lovely human right here. Who will introduce herself in just a couple of moments. So we're all going to introduce ourselves. But if you know what Humans of New York is, um, Humans of Twitch is essentially a very similar concept, except for in a podcast slash talk show kind of format where we talk about life things. Essentially. My name is B. I use they them pronouns. I am a queer and disabled variety streamer here and broadcaster on Twitch. And I will let my lovely co-host Jupi introduce themselves. Hold on, hold on. They can't hear y'all. 1 second. What's happening? Can you talk now?
Hello, can you hear me,
Can y'all
everyone?
hear Jupiter now?
Thank you
Yellow.
for letting us know.
I shall wait for the stream lag.
All
Yay,
good
okay,
now.
they can hear you now. Okay, Jupiter. I know it's gonna feel awkward and forced, but can you introduce yourself again?
Yes, I can. Thank you for letting us know. Good morning, everyone. Let's try this again. My name is Jupiter. I am a queer Latina variety streamer here on Twitch. I use she and they pronouns, and I'm very, very excited to interview our next guest today. Someone who is also a good friend and teammate of mine, and we are going to let her introduce herself right now. Take two.
Uh, okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Anusha. It is so nice to meet all of you. I don't really prepare kind of like an introduction because I usually go by trash a lot of the times. You may have seen me playing Among Us with a lot of people, but in any case, I use she, her pronouns. I'm an Indian woman of color who streams a lot of cozy games, a lot of it's like weird stuff most of the times. So if you see me around on Twitch, it is nice to see you again. But if you see me for the first time, hello, it's nice to meet you. And I'm so happy to be here. So thank you so much for having me on the show today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Anusha. I think we're going to get right into it. Do you have anything else you want to add, B?
I simply want to say that at least you're a trash can, not a trash can't.
Ooh, I like
Oh,
that.
listen.
The silver lining, the
The
positive, there's a
silver
positive
lining.
note
I'm
there.
sorry. I'm sorry. Anytime I can go for a pun, I do
That
It's
was a
it.
all,
good one.
you know what?
That was
It's
a
very
very good one.
appreciated.
Yeah.
It's very early for us all, different time zones, but nonetheless. So if we're a
Nonetheless.
little cheeky, that's all.
Bear with us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we ask. Um, Well, Anusha, we're going to get into a number of topics today. So just bear with us. And we do kind of preset some questions for every guest based on what you tell us. But we also kind of like to let the conversation just flow. So we'll just kind of start off with some questions and we'll see where we end up. So, the first question for you this morning is what is the most challenging part of being an international student? If you want to tell us a little bit about that. And then on the flip side, what is the most rewarding part?
Ooh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I for anyone that does not know, I am from India. I spent the first 7 years of my life in India. I grew
Zephyrus
up
X
over
gifted a
there,
tier 1
and then
sub
I
to
came to the
Melamin G.
U.S. to do my undergrad at the University of Michigan, my master's, and now I'm doing my
Zephyrus X
second year of
gifted a tier 1
PhD
sub to
in
Nut Sweets.
neuroscience. So that is kind of like the background for anyone that does not know. And being an international student, I think the
Zephyrus
most
X
challenging
gifted a
part
tier 1 sub to Zyri.
definitely has to be something along the lines of homesickness. So my family is literally all the way across the world.
Zephyrus
It
X
takes
gifted a
about
tier 1
18
sub to Brit
hours
BC.
in a direct flight to reach them. Otherwise, it's like 24 hours and it's split into like 2 different flights.
Zephyrus
So
X gifted a tier
yeah,
1
I
sub
think
to Senmar.
sometimes when there are things that happen in terms of friendships breaking up or like breaking up with a partner or just not doing well in school and whatnot, it's all dependent on your status as an international student. So it's like if you're not doing in school, you have the chance to get deported. You make one mistake, you have the chance to get deported. So there's a lot of pressure going into it. And I think one of the main things that my parents told me coming to the US was don't offend someone in here who's an actual citizen, because if they complain against you, you're going to get deported. And so my status as an international student is always kind of like tiptoeing the line of going too far or doing something too much to the point that it's going to risk my status. So being an alien resident in a country that I've lived in for 5 years now is a very, for the lack of a better word, alienating feeling almost, which kind of makes you feel like, oh, I wish I was home. I was in the company of like my family, my parents, my dog. So yeah, I think that's one of the most challenging parts about being an international student. As for like rewarding, I guess I could say that I'm bilingual and I have a wealth of knowledge that comes from just traveling the world, being kind of like a global personality in the sense of having been to many places where there are so many different cultures and knowing kind of like the flip side. So there's a Western side and an Eastern side. So it's kind of like having the best of both worlds, the individualistic personality from the US and the collectivistic personality from like India. So it definitely gives me the advantage when it comes to sharing my experiences and being in a group almost. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you bring this wealth of knowledge from just all of your lived experience, both where you're from and being here and all over the place, kind of in the United States. It sounds like you've been to a lot of different schools and places. So of course that's, informed your life in many different ways. That makes a ton of sense. Thank you.
Yeah. You are juggling like so many different balls, like with your neuroscience degree and studies and content creation. How do you kind of balance all of that?
I think the better answer to that would be that I don't. So I think it would be just absolutely shameless of me to say something along the lines of, yeah, I do it so well and like everything goes fine in my life. I don't know. I'm going to go as far as to say that I'm a very, very imperfect human being. And so basically everything that I dabble in has a lot of flaws in it, as bad as that is to say. But I don't know. I think the pandemic hit and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to a completely different state. I'm going to be all alone. I know nobody there. I spent an entire year in one room, not knowing anybody in that state and only FaceTiming my boyfriend who was like in EST, so he'll go to bed like 3 hours before I would and whatnot. And so I'm just sitting there and I'm wondering, how do I make friends? And that's when Twitch came about. Um, and I think that's also kind of like the path to the realization that it might not be the worst idea to pursue content creation as an actual career rather than just something to make friends through as a hobby almost. Time has been very, very unevenly divided between my PhD, content creation, and a lot of research. And so there have been a lot of disappointing moments, but there have been a lot of highs as well, in the sense that when you're doing a PhD, your reward structure is not there. It just does not happen for at least like 3 years into your research. You're not going to see results so quickly. But with content creation, you get even one sub and you're like, oh, I've made it. You know?
Yeah, more
It's
instant
instant gratification. Yep.
Exactly. So I think that's helped me kind of stay afloat almost, and just carry on doing what I want to do. And so I am currently trying to decide what is the best way to balance everything. So the thing that helps me the most is definitely like calendar blocking on Google Calendar. So I don't know if y'all have ever seen my calendar, but it's like I wake up super early in the morning and then I have time slots for each thing that I have to do. And so my whole day is kind of just like colorful because it has so many blocks in it for everything that I'm supposed to do. And it just helps me manage a bit better. It makes me feel like I actually have some semblance of control over my life, which spoiler alert, I still don't. But you know, it's not the worst feeling to feel like you do.
That's right. And do any of us really have control over this life on Earth? I don't know. Who are we fooling?
That's true.
Okay, calendar blocking. I like that. I'm gonna have to look into that myself, I think.
I feel like I chaotically go back and forth between that same kind of energy, like having everything completely like blocked out. Plus, especially how I was in college, because I was doing like 18 credits a semester, two jobs, like clubs and everything. So it just like had to be that way. But every once in a while, my brain is just like, there's so much to do to look at it. It just gets very overwhelming. And then I go through a period of time where I'm like, I don't want anything scheduled, like no plan. My community probably, they've seen this. We go from like, here's my schedule for the entire month. Everything's planned out. You can know exactly where to find me, to for this month we have no schedule because my brain can't handle it anymore. There's probably a good middle ground, but I don't know her.
Oh my gosh. Now, I know that obviously you spend a lot of time online being a content creator and, being part of the Twitch community that we're all a part of here. I'm guessing all of your schooling is online as well. How does that look for you? Is that a challenge? Is that something that you would prefer? Because I know that the pandemic causing a lot of people to do all of their schooling online has been really difficult for some people to navigate. Has that affected you at all?
Well, trigger warning here for depression and anxiety, but I think when I first moved, it was the lack of human contact that kind of really screwed with me. And so from September to, let's say, I don't even know. I don't know dates, but from September to now, I was kind of in this like funk almost, where it was very difficult to do stuff because you're just not seeing people; you're seeing them on a screen. I'm not gonna lie, I am probably the worst student that you can come across because I just don't go to classes. I am the kind of person who studies last minute. I'm like, yeah, everything's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. But it's the period in between where I'm just like, oh, I don't feel the motivation to do anything. I don't feel like getting out of bed, yada yada yada. So I just wanted to first of all normalize that it all did happen during the pandemic, and it's kind of likely that it's happened to most people. So I don't want anybody to feel like, oh yeah, it's only happened to me. But with everything now going offline, because everything's going to be in person starting this fall, I do think that content creation as a whole is going to be better for me. I think that going to classes, being in person, getting all my work done on time, not having the time to like procrastinate, and putting my 100% in my PhD will make me put my 100% in content creation as well. Because it's just going to make me feel like there's no stress where I'm not doing as poorly as I feel like I am, even though I'm not doing that poorly. Does that make sense? Because when you're at home, Zoom University, as a lot of people call it, um, makes it feel like you have to be on the job 24/7. And that is just not something that's possible. It's not something that is humanly achievable. Like, till now, I TA for undergrads, and these undergrads are all seniors. And I get emails from the professor at like 12 a.m. PST saying, you have to do this right now. You have to do this right now. Like, no, I am sleeping. I will do it tomorrow. So yeah, I think it'll be a better change going to in person now. I don't really have much to say about the online aspect because that's when I started streaming. I haven't been streaming too long. So I don't really know what the difference would be between an online and in-person aspect almost. So I don't really want to comment too much on how it's affected me almost because I don't know the effect as of yet. But I'm hoping and praying for a better understanding of exactly what I want to do and a better path almost for both the things. I think if I feel accomplished in both aspects, that is A1 for me.
That's great. You know, it sounds like, and obviously you don't really know, but it sounds like you'll be able to have maybe kind of like this separation, you know, being able to go in person and focus on
Yes.
your studies, have that time blocked off for that,
Yep.
come home, and then, oh, okay, now I can do content creation, or now I can do
Exactly.
my homework, then content creation. And that sounds like I enjoy separation and things in my life as well. So I'm hopeful that that'll be really nice for you.
Definitely.
I relate to that as well with like because for before I started working at Starbucks, I was working from home for the last like year and a half that we've been home, and it's like okay, I'm at work on Zoom on camera staring at myself, and then the workday ends and I like eat food and then get back onto the same computer at the same desk in my same
Yeah.
box.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like looking at your first of all looking at yourself on camera for like 12 hours a day is like a very much a mind fuck. You're just like, I don't think you're supposed to do this for this many
Yeah.
hours in a day. And then second, it's just like I don't leave this chair, this like tiny space. So it's I think the separation mentally is very helpful.
It
It
definitely feels like
is.
the walls are closing in when you're in the same apartment, in the same room. And for me, I am an absolute potato. Like I refuse to step outside my room unless unless I realize that, oh, you know what, it's been a month. I haven't seen the sun. I need to maybe like hop out for a second. And I go out and I'm like, oh, there's a world outside my apartment as well.
Yeah, I've just been starting to dabble in like there's like a world outside of, especially because I moved during the pandemic, which like obviously you just moved as well, and it's like, well, I wasn't allowed to like really explore this city that I just moved into. I don't know anybody here, so I'll just stay here because it's more comfortable, it's easier, but yeah.
But B, you started taking yourself on dates, haven't you?
I do, but those are mostly local. But the nice thing is that Twitch has introduced me to like a lot of other creators who are in Chicago, so I've been able to make some friends. But it's still nerve-wracking after 2 years of like no socialization. So I try to do something maybe like once a week, but it's still like I don't know. But another thing that you were saying that like really resonated with me is the way that like being online makes people think that you should be like accessible at all times. Like even you were saying with like your professor, I remember that would happen at school too because we had like I was in person, but we had like Blackboard or whatever. And I'd get professors that like at 11 p.m. would be like, "Oh, like I was also supposed to upload this additional reading you were supposed to do and I forgot it. Please read this for class tomorrow." I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
it's 11 p.m. I like already calculated out my time for my homework for today. Like, I'm busy. Like, I'm not reading that. You didn't put it on there on time. I'm not reading it.
It's really weird because all these professors have been students at a certain point. So it's like, does all that knowledge just go out of the window once you become a professor? Like all of the etiquette that you expected out of your own teachers, like does it just go out the wazoo? You're like, oh, whatever. I guess I'm an authority figure now. I can do whatever the hell I want.
It
It
does though, because I was in an education program where they would literally be like, "This is what you're supposed to do to be like the best teacher that you can be," and
right.
then us students would be like, "Okay, but wait a minute, but you don't do that. We don't do that in this class." Like they're like, "Make sure that you provide accommodations and like." Be flexible with your students, and then we would be like, oh, like, could I get this accommodation? And they'd be like, no.
Hmm.
Okay,
You
got
know,
it. Cool, cool, cool.
I wonder, and you both are more knowledgeable on this than I, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, or inform me on this. But I feel like after when you become a professor, like you go in with these dreams of like you want to accommodate your students, you want it to be, you want to help everyone, you want to change the world and shape these minds. And then the higher education system just like comes in and is like, oh, but test scores and this and this, and it like wears them down, and they maybe lose their passion. I feel like I experienced that a lot in my undergrad, where a professor had been teaching for 30 years and it's like they just don't care anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is like
Some do, obviously. Some still care. Not every teacher doesn't.
as someone who has been both an educator and a student, the system definitely does beat you down. But I think it is your obligation as a educator to find ways to release that frustration not on your students. Like
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
do not need to bear the brunt of your frustration with this system, you know? And I remember the professors that I respected the most and who I felt like did the best at dealing with this were just transparent, right? Like,
Hmm.
I don't even really want to give you this assignment, but I'm required by state mandates that we do this. I don't care how, like, I just need you to do it. And then as students, we were just like, oh, like, our stress was relieved because we were like, it doesn't really matter that much, or it does matter, but for this reason, etc. And we were able to just move on versus the professor acting super like grumpy and rude to the students who are there because they don't want to do this test and you don't know why you think you did something wrong. So
I
I
think
don't know.
it's uh, well, since I did preface everything that I was saying by saying that I'm a pretty bad student, I was like, I was like the regular backbencher, right? I would sit at the back, I would not pay attention in class, and I would still do well because like the curriculum was easy. So for me, I think that being that bad student, I can also see where the professors are coming from with testing and whatnot. I just wouldn't learn any of the material if I wasn't required to,
Hmm.
almost.
Yeah.
And so, in being a TA, like, it's kind of hard dealing with undergraduate students. Yes, they're going through a lot. Yes, life is difficult for everyone. But it's hard to make these exceptions for people that you know are definitely lying when they email you and say, oh, my grandmother passed away,
Yeah.
Hmm.
or something
People
along
who
those
take
lines.
advantage of the systems that are there
Yeah.
for people who are actually struggling.
Not just that, but it's also with the curriculum, because this curriculum, there is a prerequisite to get into a certain class. That means that
Hmm.
you need to know the material that you studied before to do well in this particular class. So it's when these students are just pushing and pushing and pushing, and you're like, you're supposed to know this. You can't just, you're, I think that's like the whole issue with testing as well, that students just learn to do well in a course and then get a good grade and then forget everything that they're doing afterwards. That is
Hmm.
the crux of the issue in education, according to me. That someone like me, and I'm the prime example for this, will not pay attention in class. We'll do like rote memorization where I'm learning cover to cover, go in, spit out whatever's in my brain, get out of the exam, pass with flying colors, and then just forget about it the next day. And then I go into the next class and I'm like, oh, how do you do 1+1? I don't fucking know, you know?
Do you think that's your fault, or do you think that is the fault of like your education not engaging you enough?
I think it depends because there have been professors that are amazing. Like, I would take their class in a heartbeat, and I have regretted not going to office hours and whatnot so much because don't tell anyone this, okay? Let's keep it on the down low.
It's between
But
us three and whoever's hanging out with us today.
if any of my professors are in chat, I promise I enjoyed your class.
For legal
But
reasons, this is a joke.
yeah, uh, to take attendance, there was this thing in college which is called like an eye clicker. So
Oh,
every student is
yes.
supposed to have one, and you're supposed to click on it when you're in class. I would just give my eye clicker to someone else, and I'd be like, "Oh, can you just mark my attendance and be done with it?" Uh,
A
so
lot of
clearly
a
that
lot of people do that, yeah.
so that was my fault in that. So I think it really depends on the student, on the professor, on how much you're willing to learn, on the reason why you're in college, what you want to do with your life. If you're just there to coast, if you're there to like make a life out of like whatever you're learning. For example, a software engineer, someone who's in computer science can get a job right outside of like bachelor's, right?
Yeah.
But someone like me who did cognition, cognitive neuroscience, perception, and psychology, as well as biopsychology, believe me, no one wanted me. I was like, hey, hello, knock, knock, knock. Do you have a job? And they'd be like, oh, no.
Relatable content. Higher ed is they really
Yeah,
want you to have a master's degree or higher, and I'm just
I
like,
did have a
listen,
master's
leave me
degree.
alone.
That's the worst part. Like, I did my undergrad in 3 years, and then I did my master's in a year from the same university because, like, it was an accelerated program. Uh, and after 4 years, I was like, oh, I'm graduating with like a master's and whatnot. I'm on the fast track, like leaving all these bitches behind and whatnot. I'm doing good in life. And I went and I knocked and I was like, hey, I knocked on 100 doors, right? By 100 doors, I mean like 100 apps. Heard back from maybe 10 of those, and they were like, I don't think you're going to be a good fit. I don't think you have enough experience. I don't think you're good enough. And I was like, oh, bitch, listen. Just try me out. I am begging you. Just try me out. And that's when PhD came in. I was like, oh, okay. Guess this is what I'm doing.
They don't know what they're missing. Now, for those of us who may not know me, can you please explain your field of study a little bit and perhaps the type of career or jobs that you may be looking for?
Okay, so for the jobs, I have no fucking clue because I feel like I'm repeating everything that I did in my undergrad. As for
That's
what I'm
valid.
doing, as for what I'm doing, it's so I'm learning cognitive neuroscience. It's not primarily neuroscience. So no, I am not going to be a neurosurgeon. I'm not going to be tinkering around in anybody's brain just yet. But what I study is primarily mind wandering as well as free think and talk aloud, which is kind of wonky because my study is very exploratory in the sense that I basically ask people to come into a room. It's a dimly lit room with no distractions. And I'm like, okay, just talk out loud, say whatever comes to mind for the next 30 minutes. And then I analyze what they say. And from that, I'm trying to figure out if we can predict someone's personality types, any sort of mental disorders, as well as this is like a long-term goal, predict what they're going to think next based on their brain waves. So what I'm hoping to do is somehow map words onto the brain such that you can go from association to association and study those brain waves in a longitudinal period. So have them come in for fMRIs like every week or so. And then after a year, figure out if there is a particular pattern in those brain waves, and then call them back in and have them just sit in the scanner and not talk out loud. And then using their brain waves, see if we can figure out what they said. So kind of like hoping to create kind of like a mind reader through the fMRI almost. But it's a very long shot, and I don't know if it's possible, but I'm hoping to try it out.
That's fascinating. Wow.
That's like
Thank you.
way up here for me, but it's
That's
very
why I
cool.
asked for the explanation. I was like,
Sorry
okay,
about
what
that.
exactly does this mean?
I promise I made it sound much smarter than it actually is because I don't know how to do it just yet. So I was like, oh, let me just like boast around a little bit.
I completely believe in you. I believe in you all the way.
Everyone in chat is saying it sounds very amazing.
Oh my god. Thank you.
I am not a sciencey type brain, so that definitely is far
I'm not either.
beyond anything I could imagine doing, but I think it's fascinating. It's kind of scary though, but maybe that's just me.
Oh no, wait! Not scary.
It seems like, I mean,
It
this seems
scares
like,
me in the context of our society because I feel like that type of technology is very cool, but like could be misused because I don't know.
yeah.
We've got
I mean, that's true with
conversations about,
anything in this
like,
country.
AI, and I don't want them reading my brainwaves. You can't have my brainwaves.
Yeah. But I think about it in terms of like, what's so cool is that you talked about like maybe mapping like mental disorders, and with so many people who can't always verbalize what they're feeling or saying or going through, that sounds like that could be life changing for a lot of people. So that, I mean, that's brilliant. You're brilliant. don't roll your eyes
Yes,
at me.
you are,
You are.
Anusha.
No, we're not gonna go there. We're
And
not
not
gonna
just
go there.
related to your PhD either. You're just like a very
A brilliant person.
yes.
Let's move on.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to a
Accept my
fun
love.
question. Take our love, and let's move on to a fun question, or a more fun question. What is your favorite way to de-stress from your studies? What do you like to do for fun?
Oh no.
You can't ask this woman anything.
So, don't judge me.
I won't.
But I have not gotten out of my like Wattpad fan fiction
Oh,
era
yes.
just yet.
Ooh.
Let's go.
I have not gotten out of that just yet. I grew up on it. That's where like all my vocabulary stemmed from. So yeah, that's that's what I do to de-stress.
Okay, what kind of fanfics are we talking?
Jupiter said I'm gonna come for your neck.
Please send me some recommendations.
Oh no. We're not okay. I was a big fan of Harry Potter before the whole like J.K. Rowling scandal happened. So I'm off the lines of like, probably a ghostwriter somewhere. She's kind of just the face of it. And now they're trying to drown her out and be like, oh, there might be a ghostwriter. So according to me, all the ghostwriters are the people who write the fan fictions and the Wattpads and whatnot. So taking that approach, I'm kind of like, okay. I like a lot of Draco and Hermione. Okay.
This is what I like to hear. I need those recommendations. The Harry Potter community we've said goodbye to the turf. I'm here for the ghostwriter. I'm
Let's
here
go.
for the ghostwriters.
Chat is also agreeing. Chat is
Everyone loves this.
confirmation with you.
I'm learning so much about you.
I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like we're getting very intimate.
Just humans of Twitch.
I kind of feel like you opened up a nice little door because it's like so many of us, I feel like, do little quirky things like that we kind of like, I don't know, think nobody else is doing, but literally all chat is just telling me literally all of us do this.
What do you both do to de-stress? Now that I've like shared my shame with all of you, what do you do too?
She's trying to flip the tables on us.
Ah, yeah, I know. Mark it in the like Humans of Twitch history. Guest asks host questions.
It would be Anusha that would do that.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's interesting too because Anusha might be our first guest that both of us know quite well too. So being on a team, each of us being on a team with her, but. What do I do to de-stress? I'm really bad at making time to do anything to de-stress if we're completely honest. But go to the beach now that it's summer with my roommate. My roommate and I like to play board games sometimes when we really are both just like tired of being in our rooms because we're both gamers. So there's a lot of like both of us sitting in our own rooms. But every once in a while we're like, okay, let's go human like outside of our computer. I read sometimes, theoretically. I have books. I don't know if I really read them, but I text my partner and sit on voice calls with them a lot because we're long distance. I don't know.
What do I do? I'm partial to getting outside for sure. I like to, even if I just go sit in the sun, like in the direct sun for 10 minutes, I'm really like a plant in that way. And it will rejuvenate me so
Mood.
much to just sit in the sun.
Photosynthesize.
Yeah. So that's a big one for me. If I'm feeling really bad, I'm like, I need to get outside. If I'm staying inside, I like to curl into a potato ball and watch anime.
Yes.
I love doing that, just not thinking about anything but whatever the heck is happening in the anime.
What are you
Taking my dog
watching?
for a walk. Right now I'm watching Seven Deadly Sins. I've just finished the Fruits Basket reboot,
Nice.
which is amazing. Please watch it, everyone. And I recently watched Demon Slayer for the first time, and that was really good.
I'm hosting a Demon Slayer movie night in my.
I'm coming. I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm coming.
Yes.
I'm coming.
I'm enjoying the nerding out that's happening right now.
I love anime. I think like out of the pandemic, that's definitely one of the things that came out. I have watched possibly all the big animes out there except for Naruto.
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's so good. It took me like
Really?
9 months. It took me like 9 months to watch all of it, but it's worth it.
What?
It's worth it. It's
good.
really good.
Wow.
I didn't skip any of the fillers. I watched every single episode. I was
Dude.
The
dedicated.
dedication, Jupiter.
I was dedicated.
The dedication. I need to figure out where you'll find the time. I do not watch very much TV, but I have my like guilty pleasure, very cheesy. I have watched the entire like 18 seasons of Grey's Anatomy like 4 times at this point. So
I refuse to watch that. Like,
That's what I was wondering. Like, does a PhD watch Grey's Anatomy?
it's
Is
literally
it required
I think
watching?
the thing is like it's trash, but I love it. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm aware that it's not good. I'm aware that it's not good television, but I
That's
still
valid.
really like it.
Okay.
I'm the kind of person who can't read a book or watch a TV show in which I know characters die or they cheat on
Oh.
the character.
Yeah,
Like-
you won't survive.
Yeah.
That's
first
the premise of
character that dies.
that's the premise of the entire show.
I was like,
That
no.
Shonda Rhimes writes is
It really is.
death
This is not
and
happening.
cheating. Yep.
Mm-mm. I was like, I flipped to the back of the book and I'm like, okay, did someone die? Is the main character still alive? And if they are, I'm like, oh, jolly good. Let me like keep reading. But if they die, I throw a fit. I'm like, what is this nonsense? This was not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And the book goes back on the shelf, never to be seen again.
There are a lot of people who hold on really tightly to the characters and are very upset that they leave, but I think it's just like having the realistic understanding that a majority of the time when the characters are killed off on the show, it's because the show's been going for 18 seasons and they're ready as like an actor or an actress to like go do something else. Like Shauna didn't want them to leave.
Yeah.
And a few of the characters were booted off the show because they were just like not nice people, and Shauna does not. She does not care.
Yeah.
She's like everyone was so mad when Meredith's like partner died because he was obviously like one of the main characters from the very beginning. McDreamy. But he was an ass, and they were like, "You can get off my set now. Like, we're done with you. We'll go on without you." So it's kind of like the only person that I like missed from the show is Christina. Like I still hate that they kicked her off so early, but other than that, I'm just like, meh. You can go. I'll move on. There'll be a new character to love on in the future.
Yeah.
But, alas. I love this. I'm glad that we all have different geeky little nerdy things we do to keep sane. You need that. You need that.
You do.
Um, let's see.
Hey, how's your mouth?
It's okay. It's just it feels like there's consistently something stuck in my throat and I can't do anything about
I
it.
am so sorry.
So it's a very unpleasant sensory experience. To all of our friends, just a public service announcement. Just because the noodles at the top of your plate are not too hot doesn't mean the noodles that are like underneath are not very warm and will not burn your throat.
Poor bee.
It was very good Thai food, and up until that point, we did go get ice cream afterwards, though. So there was that. That was nice. I was like, that sounds ideal. Now, um, Chicago has too much good food. Like I can't. My
That's
bank
true.
account cannot handle how
Yeah.
much good food there is here. Uh, um, One question I always like to ask almost every person who comes on, if it kind of works, is like, what is something that you would like to like talk about more, but nobody really asks you about, and it doesn't really come up?
Hmm. I feel like I'm pretty much an open book, so I just blabber on and on and on. And even if the topic hasn't been brought up, I just talk about it anyway. So it's kind of hard for me to like think about it.
As you should.
um, not sure. Not sure at all. I think I think one of the big things is just about parents, I guess, and how parents perceive you as your own person, especially being so far away, but also like I haven't told them that I want to be a full-time content creator. I haven't broached the subject with them that, hey, I am miserable in my PhD because I'm not getting instant gratification and I'm the kind of person who needs that. Um, so yeah, I guess it's like, it's just about, it's very different because when you're Indian, you're, it's very stereotypical. It's very, very stereotypical. But till the time I graduated from like high school, uh, the norm was that you have to get good grades to be either a lawyer, a doctor, or something along those lines, you know, the big jobs. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that, which is primarily why I went into a more science aspect of like neuroscience and psychology when I could have just gone into normal, like social psychology, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and so it's like, the fact that I am now out of this whole zone where I have to please my mom with my grades or please her with the things that I'm doing, I think it is very liberating because now I'm kind of like working for myself. I am finding my own passions in life. And I have a feeling that if I were to tell her tomorrow that, hey, I don't want to do a PhD anymore, I want to go into content creation, I think it's kind of like a beautiful thing that going from the very strict parenthood to now her saying, do whatever you want, it's your life, as long as you're well settled, I am okay with it and I will support you no matter what. I'm hoping she says that obviously. Like this is this is like wishful thinking. I have no idea what she's gonna say. Um, but it's just I have a much better relationship with my family now. And I think that's not spoken about often, primarily because no one really knows the dark side to it, the things that happened as like a child and whatnot. So it's just a very liberating feeling knowing that I am my own person
Yeah.
almost.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't need the validation of my parents. Instead, I now need the validation of my mentor, which is just as bad because it's very anxiety inducing. Um, so like that shift in authority obviously isn't the best, but I'm trying to get over it. I'm trying to imbibe the feeling that I get um from like discovering myself and this path of self-realization that I got from being so far away from my parents into with like other people in my life who might hold authority over me. And
Yeah.
remembering that no matter what happens, everything's gonna be fine. No matter how bad of a feedback you get, even if you get kicked off your job, I promise that literally no matter what happens, you're gonna feel anxiety for a day, for 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and then life's just gonna go back to the place it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So it's just made me feel like I am the speck of dust in the universe, and the Big Bang happened. I don't believe in God per se. I don't believe that there is like a big entity outside controls us. Um, so I am the kind of person who has an existential crisis very often where I'm just like, oh, what am I doing in life? Like, why is anything that I'm doing, why does it matter? Is it even real? Are we living in a simulation and whatnot? Um, but it helps me like expand my mind almost to the horizons where I can see beyond the horizon and be like, oh yeah, you know what? Even if this thing goes wrong, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people to me are then like, oh, so why do you live? Why don't you just like, if there is no purpose to living, why do you do it? Well, my purpose to living right now is just happiness because I'm happy and I like being happy. And I know that even if I'm sad one day, the next day I'm going to be happy. So it's always a new day for me. It's always a new morning for me. Again, see, I ramble. You shouldn't ask me such questions, B. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it.
You're here
No,
to
it's beautiful.
you're here to ramble, love. The
Mm-hmm.
platform is for you to ramble on. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
That's right. This is a peek inside your big brain.
Oh
That's what we're
God.
doing right now.
But it's just like it's a very comforting feeling to know that no matter how bad today is, tomorrow might be better, or the day after that might be better, or the day after that might be better, because life's kind of like a circle. So Big Bang happened, Earth was created, evolution happened, we were created. Do we have a purpose in life? We don't know. Do we matter? We don't know. But we have one purpose as like humanity is survival as well as the feelings behind it, which is happiness. So you exist to feel happy almost. Um, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So even if you feel sad today, you're still striving towards happiness and it'll come. So yeah, that's
That's
my
very,
Anusha out
overall
here being
opinion.
so like casually inspirational and
yeah,
then
that's
just
very
being like,
validating.
yeah, totally.
That's very validating to hear, I think, for a lot of people. So I'm glad that that's where you're at, because yeah, I mean, what else can we do other than try to do our best and be happy and figure out the path, maybe not the path that we're supposed to be on, but just where our path will continue to lead. Maybe that's a better way to
Exactly.
put that.
Yep. Yep.
That's great. Okay. I think this is a good transition. We've talked a lot about your PhD, which is so fascinating to learn about. So thank you, and your studies and your educational journey. I know that that has been a huge part of your life. But I know another huge part of your life is kind of where we are right now. So let's talk about your content creation journey. Why did you decide to start streaming? How has the journey been for you? And just feel free to tell us anything that you'd like to about being a streamer and a content creator.
Uh, I have never felt as passionate about something as I do about content creation. So a thing that I was asked over and over again is, why do you do what you do? Why do you want to do a PhD? And my answer was always, I want to make money. I want to be settled in life. I grew up like not in the most well-off family. So it's kind of like the whole, I want to be secure in life almost. I want to
Mm-hmm.
have a roof over my head, a car, and I want to get good things. Like as materialistic as that sounds, at the crux of it, I want to have things that I didn't have growing up. And that's why I was like, oh, that's why I want to do a PhD. And then bang, the pandemic hits, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
The pandemic definitely derailed a lot of
Yes.
us and like
Yes,
Yeah.
it
put
did.
called into question like priorities and how we wanted to go about approaching getting the things we wanted in life.
Right. Uh, and I think that's also when the loneliness hit. And I'm like, oh, I'm sitting in this like box, like you said before, B. I'm sitting in this box and I have nothing to do. And that's when I started streaming. I actually started streaming on my birthday. That was my first going live.
Wait, that's
Uh,
so cute that your anniversary will always be on your
That's
birthday.
so
What the
sweet.
heck? I love that.
yeah. And I was like, hey, I like it. And I started streaming. For the first 2 or 3 months, I had maybe like 2 viewers. I didn't hit affiliate till I think November or something. And I hit affiliate and I'm like, oh wow, I'm gonna make it in life now. I love this. This is so fun. I have 3.5 viewers. It's going great. My boyfriend subbed to me. I had like $5 in my bank account. And I was like, oh, never mind. $2.5 in my bank account. This is amazing. And then I started like actually watch Twitch and I started going to other people's streams and I was like, oh shit, I really like what they're doing. I really like them as a let me talk to them a little bit more. And I started talking to people and I was like, can I make friends on here? Can I make a community on here? What is this? Growing up, I was never allowed to talk to strangers on the internet. They're like, if you do it, someone's gonna kidnap you, they're gonna chop you up and like sell your parts somewhere, yada yada yada. I was like, oh, I don't know. And then it kind of just grew from there. So I think that's how I started out. But then the pandemic kind of slowed down. And I was like, oh, there go my dreams. I was hitting like an average of 50 in January, late December and January, and a little bit of February. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, the vaccine came out.
Yep. Yeah, that happened to everyone.
I was like, the
Yeah.
vaccine came out and things are getting better now. I can go outside. And I found myself like viewing Twitch as a viewer again. And I realized that the reason people are not coming onto Twitch is the same reasons as me.
Yeah.
I can go out now. Like I can be much more free in my endeavors. And it's getting hotter, it's getting better. I have more free time and
Yeah.
time to do what I want to do. And that's when Twitch started to take a backseat almost, where I'm not going into my friends' streams as much anymore. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I miss you. And the word I miss you, the words started coming up so often. I was like, this is disgusting. Like, if you're my friend, I don't want to start off every conversation by saying, I've missed you or haven't seen you in so long, hope you're doing well. Like, that made me realize that I'm getting out of touch with the community that I built over the pandemic. And so it's at a rise again, I would say. I would say that me wanting to get out of my PhD is also making me now see content creation as in a much more strategic manner. So I'm using whatever skills I picked up in my PhD to kind of like analyze all the platforms that I want to be on, make like a consistent schedule and whatnot with everything that I'm going to be doing. I didn't stream last night because I was actually doing that. But looking at like Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, I'm forgetting something, TikTok, seeing how discoverability works, whether it works, what happens, using statistics to actually see what times work, what time to post, what kind of content goes on each platform, as well as who I am almost as a content creator.
Yeah.
So like what value am I bringing to your life? So if I were to ask you and be right now, when you come to my streams, do I bring any sort of value to you? Like is it just value in entertainment? Is it value in making you smile? Or is it value beyond that? Is it something that you want to come back to me for? Is it something that you want to be friends with me for? Like what is the one aspect of me that would make someone want to be around me? And it's very interesting because it's kind of made me feel like I'm a very boring person. I was just like, oh shit, I have nothing going on in my life. I have nothing relatable. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like twiddling my thumbs and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And it's very weird because it's a very, very devastating feeling realizing that the past 22 years of your life, you don't really know who you are almost. You don't really know the value that you bring to people. Um, it's kind of been like a very weird journey of self-realization almost. It's made me think a lot, um, good and bad stuff about myself. So I don't know.
Content
Again, I
creation is
rambled.
is is truly such a unique field in that you are asked to apply quantitative measures to such a qualitative experience in my
Mm-hmm.
mind. Like, so much of what we do is human engagement and like human interaction. I mean, obviously we're here doing Humans of Twitch. Like the whole gig is kind of like to talk about the humanity side of things of Twitch, but there is this other like um statistical side as well. And you can definitely use that to your advantage, but it is quite difficult to recognize that, and also recognize that you can do all of the quote correct things and not have it pan out the way you want it to, and vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. You can do
Yeah.
you see it when you see
You can do
like.
nothing and have
Okay,
it work out
I'll
for
yeah,
you.
I'll use my friend and our teammate Anusha Emma as an example because I know she won't mind. She just started TikTok and she's putting out all this beautiful TikTok content. A lot of it is very well thought out and whatever. But as we all do, sometimes we get tired and TikTok really prefers you to post like a million things. So you post some like little like goofy shit posts in there sometimes that aren't that important intermixed with like your nice content. Not to say it wasn't a nice post, but there's a video of her literally just like showing her eye that went like like it got like over 100K views, and she's just like, sometimes I think Krub said this once in a video and it like really did stick with me, but like sometimes we work so hard, but sometimes it's like these algorithms are so random. Like, you can have a video of your eye blow up for zero reason, and the piece of content that you spent 12 hours editing and
Yeah.
made absolutely perfect in your mind um, can go nowhere. And neither of those things are really within your control.
It's super weird. It's like I don't remember who said this, but it's kind of very, very. It's it's very much a matter of luck. It's
Yeah.
the stupidest shit goes viral. Like literally, it's so it doesn't make any sense, and there is not particularly a statistical aspect to it because it can be, like you said, a video of an eye. What niche does that fall in? Like what what is it? It makes no sense. Like I posted this video on YouTube for like a Stardew Valley thing. And I have to say, I watched that video back and it's heavily edited. I spent about like 14 hours making this video. And I was like, holy shit, I'm so funny. Whoever watches this will like me. I posted it and I was like, no one watched it. So no one gets to see whether I am like what kind of a person I am, right? So it's a very big hit or miss thing. I also saw someone say that on average you need to have about 90 videos on YouTube to hit that like YouTube partner status in the first place to get
But it's
discovered
so random
almost.
because, again, I'll use an example of a friend who I don't think will mind. Like my friend, some of you might know her, Maddie Shortcake, did
Yes,
a
uh,
PC tour. And granted, like her video is very nice, and her PC is very cute. All of Maddie's stuff is cute, so of course it's cute. Um, but like we were talking about it, and she's like, "That's a big that video. That one video is a huge reason why I could apply to the YouTube Partner Program on one video." And she doesn't have that many other videos on her channel, so it's like you constantly see all of these, this is the way, this is the thing, this is the little like secret piece of information you need to know. And I think we just also fundamentally see so many examples of just random luck.
it also makes you like ask questions about does randomness actually exist? So this is gonna go a
Ooh.
little bit into like the sciencey aspect, but is everything a coincidence? Is everything associated with one thing or another? Or is there like a true random? And a lot of mathematicians would say there is a true random, but it's also like for an algorithm, it's literally an algorithm for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
it's, a,
But
it's
this
a
algorithm is
mathematical
also like
proof.
reliant on human psychology, isn't it? Because a lot of it has to do with like watch time, which on a lot of these platforms, which involves whether or not the humans who are coming across your content are choosing to click and engage with it. So I think
Right.
it's as much, you know, an algorithm that's very mathematical as it is a human thing in terms of how, and like some of that's calculated too, right? Like there's a conversation on Twitter not that long ago about farming engagement, which is like some people see it very negatively, but if you're not doing it for the wrong reasons, I don't think it's bad. It's like intentionally putting a question in your post to encourage people to want to engage with it
That's
versus,
just smart marketing. Anyone
well,
who says that's
exactly.
farming engagement is not thinking
And
business mindedly,
I think there's
which you
good,
have to in this space, at least a little bit.
at
Yeah.
least a little bit. I think that there's good versions of that and bad versions of that too, though, because there's like the um follow for follow posts, which are just
Oh
boring,
Well,
no.
those are
and
Yeah.
ridiculous,
those are just
obviously.
like, can you try a little bit harder? But like,
That's like middle school love.
Yeah.
it's the person who, not even like necessarily follow for follow, but even those ones where they're like, I'm looking for more people to raid, like drop your
Oh
link
god.
down below. Like that's engagement for that creator who made that post. Like that's what they're doing. They're not
Yeah.
Mhm.
interested in your content. If they want more people to raid, guess what they'll do? Go on
They
Twitch at the
look.
time that they would normally be raiding, look in the
Right.
Yeah.
categories that they would normally be raiding,
Yeah.
and look for people that can raid. Like,
Right.
like you're gonna be commenting on there, and they don't even know if your schedules might not even be in alignment with with
Yeah.
theirs. So what is the point?
I
Um,
think that really the statistical aspect kind of really slapped me in the face when I was making like a pitch deck and I had to go in and see about, oh, what are my like Twitter analytics? I didn't even know that existed.
yeah,
And the reason that my Twitter analytics were fine was because, people in the world kind of want to support marginalized communities when something bad goes wrong most of the times. And so
yep,
Twitch censored my name since I was on Twitch. And it was just very weird, very, very Eurocentric in that sense. And so Twitch would censor my name, and I posted on Twitter. I was like, day one of asking Twitch to like stop censoring my name. And mind you, I had posted the same thing when I first created a Twitter account. Uh, and then I posted it again, I think a month ago. And now I had friends on Twitter. So a lot of people started retweeting and stuff. And people on Twitch like acted upon this thing in the next, I think it took them like 6 hours or so to do so, which was insane because they don't really ever fix anything so quickly on
yeah.
Twitch at the very least. And that post got like 3.5K likes and about like 500 retweets and whatnot. And then since then, that's when I realized that like people post on Twitter very specific things that are supposed to be adding value to another person's life, but they feel very, very targeted almost. Does that make sense? It doesn't come across as genuine after a period of time when you're just like,
I see that for
you're just
some
posting
create. I see that
garbage.
for some people, yeah. I wouldn't say everyone. I definitely have a lot
Oh,
of
definitely
people
not.
on my
Like for
timeline who really add to my life, and I feel like they're very genuine, but I've definitely also come across people like that where you can tell it's very forced almost.
yeah, like for you, B, you post a lot of content on Twitter. Like your feed is definitely one of the feeds that I wake up in the morning and like scroll through because I enjoy what you put out. You bring value to my life. But there are some just like creators who don't share the identity or any aspect of what they're promoting. And it feels very, very disingenuous. generous. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a word. I think I just made it up.
Is the word, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
But
it's
I
very
will
easy
say
to
on the other
tell.
side of the coin, on the other side of that coin, I think that there's a lot of forced content out there. I think so. I think Twitter is such a immediate means of getting
Yeah.
your message out there and promoting whatever it is you're promoting. So you do see that. But something that I've really discovered in the Twitch space specifically, and this ties into how Twitter is used, is so many creators are learning their identities
True.
through Twitch, through streaming, through creating content. That was very much me for a long time. I never had a space in which I could explore my identity and talk openly about who I was, so I don't think you're talking about me, but like maybe that comes across as forced sometime because I am talking more often or more specifically about, certain things. But I just like to think that people, I don't know, maybe I'm too hopeful. I try to hope that people are being genuine for the most part and figuring themselves out and how to create content and whatever it may be. But, some people are maybe just in the first step of that journey of figuring out who the heck they are. And Twitch is a wonderful place to do that. It really is, as a marginalized person.
I think that's like one of the reasons why I mentioned that people who don't share that identity. So, for example, a white person cannot be brown. So,
True.
if they only stand up for a brown person when there's something that's going wrong, like my
Mhm.
positive tweets have maybe 1/4 the engagement
Yes.
that a
Oh, yeah.
tweet that I'm calling someone out on had.
Yep.
And
We talk about this almost every week. This is a
This is this
statistical,
is yeah.
factual thing that happens to marginalized
Absolutely
communities.
a recurring problem. Like I felt like tingles when you said you went into your Twitter analytics, because ironically the first month that I needed to go into my Twitter analytics for my pitch deck was the same month that I got it was the same month that I was reposted to that like trans hate page.
oh yeah, I
Um
remember that.
and that
They
I
didn't rate it.
I had like this weird feeling of like I'm so grateful that everyone
Yeah.
cared enough to stand up for me, but also why is it like that when you're getting hate is the most like engagement we get on a tweet, the most engagement that you get, like all these people came into my stream that day, like,
Yeah,
and the
mine
day
too.
after, so
Yeah.
uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't know what to say to you. I'm like, you're just here watching me because you want like the tea, the drama. Are
Yeah.
you here to watch me cry? Like, I don't
Mhm.
know what
It's
you want me to
ridiculous.
say to you.
It's
Also,
absolutely
yes, hello
ridiculous.
Raiders. Thank you for the raid, Emma. We are doing our little Humans of Twitch show. If you're new here, um, the alerts don't go off so that like the conversation doesn't keep getting broken, but I do very much appreciate you. I hope you had a wonderful stream. Um, but yeah, we're having some good chats if you wanna hang out. If you have any questions, let me know. But yeah, it's very frustrating. Like please for the love of God, engage with your friends when they're having just like a
Yeah.
good day, when they're just
Mhm.
like streaming to stream. There's
Right.
nothing, there's no special subathon, there's nothing bad happening in their life. They're just doing their thing is like the most important time to
Agreed.
hype them up and encourage them. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying you owe anyone anything, but if they are genuinely your friend,
If you want to support them,
right,
Yeah.
it's
if it
just a
comes from a
reminder that that's a
genuine
great way.
place.
It's the
Yeah.
same
Absolutely.
thing with like a content creator switching their content, right? So
Oh,
Yeah, like come out and support. Yes. I think all of us, every single one of us in this call right now relates deeply to this conversation about content changing and like honestly, especially um especially in like a platform um okay, so I lost my train of thought cuz I read a message in chat. I think you you can't publicly do anything, Min, that makes sense, obviously, because you have to keep yourself safe. But like even right now, you just being here, in a sense, is supportive. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyways, sorry, I got distracted. I don't normally read, but I felt like that was important to answer, and not just let go by.
I think I think a big chunk of this that many of us have experienced is obviously Animal Crossing and Animal Crossing burnout. You know, so Anusha, if I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I know you do still stream Animal Crossing, I know, but this has all affected us in many different ways. How has the changing of tides in the Animal Crossing community on Twitch? How has this affected you and your content?
So Animal Crossing, I'm not a gamer. I'm just gonna put that out there. I am not. I never
You play
was.
games, so
Fame
you're a gamer, Anusha.
You are a gamer.
Not in the toxic
preface
sense,
that.
but
Let me let me preface that by saying I grew up with like three brothers, two cousins, so like two of them were cousins. And they used to play games and I had no idea how to play them. I was always terrible at them.
Same.
They would offer it and then I would just be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, so I'm just not gonna do it.
Same. I had 3 older brothers, so it's just literally me sitting there watching them play video games, but I didn't understand.
I also have older brothers, so I just want to say that that's really cool that we all do. But anyway.
I absolutely loved it. I would stand in the corner and I would like pretend I have pom-poms and I'm cheering them on as a kid, like, go, you can do it, you can do it. But that's how I grew up. So I grew up around people who really enjoyed video games, and I never had a console of my own, never owned anything to play a video game on. Sometimes my brother would let me play The Sims till my dad and my mom found out that I was like just going in The Sims at the right age of like 14 to do like woohooing and whatnot because I'm curious. I'm a curious child, right?
Me literally exploring my gay identity in The Sims. My mom being like, why are all of your families in The Sims queer women? Like, don't ask me these questions. I would literally sit with my laptop like semi-closed, like on the couch, so like no one could see what I was doing.
I was so ashamed of it. I was like, oh my god, what if someone watches me like making my Sims having sex, right? I was like, oh god. But that was the peak of me gaming almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was just watching from the periphery, so it was very on the sidelines. I never thought I was going to get into video games and whatnot. Then my boyfriend, I think this was like just when the pandemic started, he's like, oh, Animal Crossing is coming out. I was like, what the hell is that? That does not sound fun. And then he played it in front of me with his sister, and I just got hooked. I was like, oh shit, this is a new life. This is a new Anusha. You don't know the past one. And that's the first time for my birthday, I bought myself a Switch with like the first paycheck I ever got from my PhD. And this was like 27 September 2020. And I bought it and I was like, oh, I have my own first console. So to me, Animal Crossing is kind of like my introduction into a whole new life. I would go as far as to say.
Yeah.
So it holds a very special place in my heart, but I realized that like there's only so many ways that you can put down furniture and say you're having fun, you know? There's only so many ways that you can go into Animal Crossing and listen to Isabel say the same 2 sentences.
Oh my gosh. I think I could get back into Animal Crossing with the simple quality of life update of just more like different variation of dialogue. Truly.
Yeah.
And that's not that detailed. It's not very hard for the game devs. Like I completely understand like major upgrades take time, but just give me it can be the same general idea. Just make her say it like 5 different ways so I don't have to read the same message over and over again.
It's just really it's very sentimental for me. It's like it makes me emotional. But then I'm like, I'm so bored. I am so bored. I can't do this anymore. I am literally gonna jump off a bridge. I refuse to do this now. And so I switched to Stardew Valley. And also, let me just say this real quick. Okay, please nobody take offense. But
are you gonna slander Stardew Valley? Because
no.
Okay.
I'm not.
Not on my Christian Minecraft server.
No. I was gonna say something along the lines of I got into Animal Crossing when Animal Crossing was a cozy game. So when Animal Crossing, every single streamer would have this very mellow voice, right? Very soothing, calming voice. They were so sweet, so nice, so welcoming, which I hope that I am too, but we're just gonna move past that. It's kind of like I got into it when everyone was the exact opposite of me, because I consider myself to have the voice of like a 15-year-old boy who's just hit puberty, right? I
No.
consider myself to be someone who's
Anusha.
very chaotic, very, very opinionated, and very loud in my opinions. And I think like the first time that someone came into my stream and then came back again, they told me that you had like 5 viewers and you were bitching about school. And I was like, that's all I do. All I do is bitch and rant and bitch and rant. Like that is my 2 cents into this world. That is the value that I bring to your life. Like you're
Anusha.
coming here.
I don't like where this is going.
But it just like it made me realize that I didn't fit in. I didn't fit into this community of like Animal Crossing streamers who were so well regarded as people who you can come to for comfort. I felt like I was not that person. And that's when I realized playing Stardew Valley that my personality is coming out so much. Me as a person, like I am shining so much brighter in Stardew Valley with my reactions and whatnot because I was genuinely enjoying the interactions. I was genuinely enjoying like discovering a storyline and whatnot.
Yeah.
And Animal Crossing just does not have that. It's a decoration simulator almost
Yeah.
at this point. And I've also seen that the viewers in general for Animal Crossing have tanked across the board. So it is getting old now.
The community as a whole is just very, very burnt out with lack of updates, and I won't go into how Nintendo does not care about the community.
I also think it's difficult as well because something that I have observed in both Animal Crossing and The Sims, and I'm sure other communities as well, but particularly in those two, I have observed the way that the viewers of these communities are similar to how you said I'm not a gamer, how I said I was not a gamer growing up. I think I am now. Now I play a lot of games, but I was not before. Most Animal Crossing viewers, most Sims viewers are not um, they're not gamers. They simply come on Twitch only to watch Animal Crossing content, only
That's
to
right.
watch Sims content. So when you
They're
want to
not there for the
try,
creator.
correct, and like I don't necessarily think that I kind of understand, but um because that's like where I was when I first started viewing. And obviously, over time, I transitioned and I fell in love with certain creators, and then it didn't matter what they were playing. But it makes it very difficult for you as a creator because then if you try anything else, you know, people don't want to come.
Yeah.
I've had good
Right.
luck because I did variety from the beginning. Personally, but I've just seen so many of my friends go through this struggle. And as like I do virtual assistant work, and a lot of the people that I work with have the same difficulty.
Yeah. And look, that's a challenge of being a content creator, right? Like your viewers don't owe you anything. They
Of
don't,
course.
and people can watch whatever they want. But I think that obviously Animal Crossing was so booming during the pandemic. It was the comfort game, it was the comfort community, it was an escape from the horrible things happening in the world around us. And so, of course, now as the world starts to shift back to people being able to go outside and, go back to school in person and different things like that, obviously there's going to be a huge shift. And something that has really stuck with me is that people have told me that, they have to take a break from Animal Crossing because now they associate all this trauma with the
Oh
game,
God,
trauma
I
of
didn't even realize that.
staying inside and being in a pandemic and having
Yeah.
to escape. So, for me, like, this is something I've realized, like, I haven't touched the game in months, and it's
Yeah.
definitely for that reason, so
It's
I don't
complex.
think the game will die forever per se, but I don't think it will ever be what it was. And that's a huge shift for many of us that created a lot of content around the game for sure.
Well, and none of us are, but there were quite a few creators who were partnered on that hype
On
and
that
now are
game.
trying to navigate how do I proceed forward when not
Yeah.
only
Right.
maybe I'm done with the game, but even if I was talking to Groovy Plantat the other day about like about how he really still likes the game, and as do I, because I personally Shania's like heard. um but as do I still really enjoy the game. Because I never got so deep into it where I was playing that like every day. So I didn't get the burnout because I was only playing it like maybe once or twice a week, so it was like reasonable. But so many people are not in that position anymore. Like they just don't even enjoy playing the game.
I don't.
And it put them in a very bad place, those who were like basically partnered only on the hype of this game.
Yeah.
Well, not, I never want to say only, because obviously they had to have like some effort and talent and work that went into it, or it doesn't just magic. You can't just play Animal Crossing and have no skills and have gotten that far.
Yeah.
But they just
No,
in a
they-
place where like a lot
no.
of their community members were only there for that, and that's very
Yeah.
sad, you know.
That
I
they
think-
absolutely did it of their own regard, but that that hardest mark to hit, that 75 concurrent viewers, that's where Animal Crossing came in
Yeah.
for a lot of people, because you get it was easier to get over that amount of viewers
Yeah.
when the hype was, at the height of the pandemic with
Absolutely.
Animal Crossing. It was.
It's just really sad because I came on Twitch and I discovered Treasure Islands. And I hate to say it, but it kind of feels a little artificial to get so many viewers based on a product that you're providing. And then you go to another game and you're not providing that particular product. And all these people who came for the Treasure Island, it's hurtful to see that they don't stick around for you.
Yeah.
And rather they like shift to another Treasure Island streamer, which is absolutely fine. Sorry about that. Which is absolutely fine, but it's still a little degrading in a sense that your value as a person is being toned down to the product that you're offering,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're on such a video platform where you're showing yourself, your personality and whatnot. And it boils down to those children, first of all, that came into your stream to go to a treasure island. And then those same children now being like, oh, where's the treasure island? Blah, 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 blah. Which is one of the reasons why I absolutely refuse to put the fact that I have a treasure island up in my title ever. It's just like, I don't want this. I don't want children coming into my stream.
No,
and
I
being like,
don't
you
play
know.
Animal Crossing a lot, but we have a similar conversation amongst myself and like other bigger Sim streamers. I've talked to them a lot, and it's just like trying to avoid the Sims kids is what we call them. It's kind of like a particular brand of viewer that you
Yeah.
that a lot of us do not want to acquire. We would like young adults who like to play The Sims, not The Sims kids who are very demanding and want very particular things out of you. And it's like, I want to play the game how I want to play the game.
Right.
It's very ridiculous. I think the best thing that came out of the pandemic was that I realized that I can play with people online.
Yes.
And so what I am predicting is that this friendship aspect is going to go much further.
Yeah.
So obviously, as you saw with Corpse Husbands, like Kuno, Valkyrie, Pokimane, whatever, these all people came together and they started playing Among Us together, right? That's where I got to know these people from. And I was like, oh yeah, they're pretty cool. And this like group aspect, this community aspect, this friend aspect where these people are sharing their communities with each other and are genuine friends is kind of what like also accelerated their success in a sense.
It's also like they get to bounce off of each other's energy, which is really
Yeah.
nice.
Exactly. Like something like this. It's ridiculous. I am having so much fun just talking to people because this is something that was very much missing from my like day-to-day life if it wasn't just with my family or with my partner or with like a few friends. So this is a very refreshing thing to have in life in a sense as a whole. Just conversation and people that you can actually interact with. I don't know if
Yeah.
you both know of the new game called Paleo that's coming out.
I've heard of it. It's like one of the first cute kind of like cozy game style,
Yeah,
but heavily multiplayer. And like Stardew
exactly.
Valley has like
Ooh.
4 people you can have, and technically you can cheat it to have more, but um I'm excited for a game that is rooted in like multiplayer on like a larger
Yeah,
scale,
exactly.
but
So
cozy and cute.
that's what I see happening. Like
Yeah.
Valkyrie also commented on their trailer tweet saying, "I need this right now."
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait
So
to. I'll go watch that after this. That
yeah,
sounds. We gotta all play that together when it comes out.
yes.
But my
So
struggle, like, I don't know if anyone else relates to this, but my struggle is like, I love playing those types of games with friends on their stream. I cannot stream multiplayer games very often on my own stream because it's just too many, like, things to focus on at the same time. Like, even with the show, we have to have, like, the disclaimer that, like, we may not be able to, like, engage with your messages on chat. And, like, I struggle to see what incentive there is for people to, other than just observing you and your friends, which is like nice, but um, what like incentivizes someone to sit and watch something where there's no engagement on Twitch versus YouTube, where they could just watch that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, isn't the whole gig behind Twitch like feeling like you're part of a live show and that you get to contribute to something? I mean, we have lurkers, of course, but I don't
See,
I
know.
that's
think
the difficult
uh,
part because I agree with you, B. Like, I love playing multiplayer, love playing with friends, but I have found that I have to either have friends on voice chat and not pay attention to chat or not have anyone on voice chat so I can talk to chat. I cannot do both. It's too overwhelming for me while I'm streaming. And I think that obviously Corpse and Saikuno and Pokimane, they're well known. So of course people want to watch all of them. So,
I think there's
it's
yeah,
like
it's a little easier for them to get away with that. Whereas
I
us, we
yeah.
have to kind of find that
I
balance.
think there's a level of content, and maybe this is what's the word I want to use, naivety. Like, maybe this is me wishful thinking, but I do think there is a level of content creation at which you get where you get a level of freedom that we cannot have as smaller creators, where it's like it doesn't matter what you do,
Right.
people are gonna show up in
Yeah.
hordes. Like, like I'm just gonna use her as an example, but I don't mean anything bad by it. But like, Kayla plays The Sims primarily, and she can hop on stream and play Dead by Daylight, and she may not have her thousands of viewers she has when she plays The Sims, but she's still gonna have hundreds of people watching her
Yeah.
because of the just the level that she's at. Um, and
I
so
think that
it's
kind
hard
of
to compare.
I think that definitely uh, I'm not gonna lie, that's primarily the level that I want to be at. So my goals for content creation as a whole are that Jonathan, if you're watching this, I'm still doing my PhD very, very seriously, I promise. The goal for that is that I want to do well in my PhD, but these next 4 years, I have the cushion of my PhD. So I'm going to get paid for the next 4 years through the university to do a PhD in the first place. But I have like this cushion that allows me the time to focus on content creation as well. So what this means is I'm going to be using these next 4 years to get at the level of,
Freedom.
yeah, kind of like knowing that this can be my job.
Yeah.
So if I were to graduate, uh, this can be one of the prospects that I want to go into. So I'm working like super hard towards it. And I'm very proud of myself for it because this is the first ever thing that I'm putting like my heart and soul into. Um, so I started rambling. But I do believe exactly like you said, B, we're not afforded this freedom where we can just ignore chat almost and focus on the game with
And
our
I don't know that
friends.
I would ever. I don't. This is where I struggle because I think the freedom to feel like you can do whatever you want. I have actively really worked to unlearn that and try to behave as though I have that freedom, even though in technicality and the logistics side of things I don't, um, because I've just seen too many people kind of like do what they need to do to get to the higher level and then struggle because there's a lack of like genuineness that comes with that. And so I try really hard to like truly do what I want to do, whether that's multiplayer that day or single player or whatever. But it I love engaging with my community so much, and I think we all relate to this. I feel like we are all very like community focused streamers. I wonder if it is possible to have the size level that affords you that freedom and still maintain a sense of community, because I don't see very many people at that level able to really like engage with their chats consistently. They read the every so often message, and I don't blame them, right? I don't blame them at all, because this goes like it's like overwhelming. It goes flying by. Like, what are you supposed to do? But um, I do always get scared of ever getting to a content creation level where I feel like I can no longer connect with people in that way.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
one of the main aspects in that is definitely, even till this day, I don't see myself as the leader of my community or someone who's built this community, because I'm not the person who runs it almost. I'm not the person who like directs all the conversation or something like that. I believe that I'm a part of the community that my viewers have created almost. So I think going across content creation as a whole, thinking of it like that in terms of this is a community and I'm a part of that community. And yes, I may be a bigger part than like some of the people, but I am a part of this community that like these people are a part of. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So, so kind of like
I
letting the
like that.
people talk amongst themselves almost, right?
Mm,
So letting them make the sort of connection with each other in the first place. Like, why would they want to come back just for you, right? If they
Hmm.
don't feel like they're a part of the conversation that's going on in chat, why would they come back? They would feel so alienated. They
do
come
you
back
ever
because,
struggle with like a set? Because I agree with you, and I've actually seen that happen. Like, I've done multiplayer game when we used to do our screw gender farming. That's pretty much what would happen. Like, the amazing beings who are hanging out right now would like they would chat with each other in chat, and I would read when I felt like it was relevant to bring into like the voice conversation that was happening. But I always like felt guilty afterwards, like I had ignored them, or like that I don't know. It's just not the traditional way that I think about streaming, and maybe that's just maybe I need to expand my thought process, because I
I
like what you
like
said.
Yeah, I like what you said a lot, Anusha. I think that that's an important part of building a community is obviously it's not just you and everyone else. Like a
Yeah,
community is all people together getting to know each other, sharing their interests, their values. And I think that I think that that's really the way to do it because no matter how hard you try to respond to everyone or be present with everyone, there will come a time when you're focused on gameplay, you're focused on something else. And so seeing people talk and chat and create conversation together and just talk about their days, like how good does that feel? You've created a space for people to do that.
exactly.
And that's powerful.
I think I mean, I'm honestly blessed. I love to say this, but all of my mods, I literally would not be on Twitch if it were not for my mods. And yes, they come and go, they have their own lives. But I feel like I'm surrounded by friends. And sometimes
yeah,
when you're around friends, you don't need to constantly engage with them, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Hmm.
yeah.
And my
It
mods
does.
did just such a good job. Kind of so I was like, just growing up, I had to facilitate a lot of groups. I had to moderate a lot of groups. And one of the biggest things I've learned is that you don't need to be the person that people turn to. Like even in this interview, I feel like it's a conversation rather than like you interviewing me almost,
Yeah,
because you all are like facilitating. So you all are bringing up questions here and there, but then we're having a conversation about it.
yeah.
So That's what a moderator is supposed to do, in my opinion. They're supposed to like keep chat safe, of course, but one of the bigger aspects is that they're at an equal level as you. So even if you get boring on stream, if your facilitators are able to keep chat engaged and hyped up and whatnot, it's a lifesaver. And
Hmm.
so they build communities just as much as you do,
Yeah.
along with everyone who engages in that, with your VIPs, with your moderators. Like I was playing Stardew Valley, I don't have two monitors, so I have to like look at my laptop while doing it. Um, and my mods like started a bit war and everyone was enjoying it so much. They were just talking amongst themselves. And even though it was
Mm.
directed at me, it was still something that chat as a whole was doing. And I am so forever grateful for just like the community that they're allowing me to be a part of. It's insane. It's like, why am I here?
It absolutely brings me so much joy when I feel like that kind of vibe is happening where people are just like really enjoying each other's
Yeah.
company. Like
Hmm.
there's
Yes.
definitely been times where I'm like at work and my community's like in my Discord sitting in a voice call and there's like they're hanging out. And do I have FOMO? Yes. But am I also like really glad that they feel like they can just enjoy this space and that I don't have to like structurally organize something for them to enjoy that space?
Right.
Yes, that's also absolutely wonderful. So I think maybe it's almost like letting go a little bit of that pressure of just kind of
Hmm.
and just kind of like existing in the space. And that is something that I tried like that I feel like it finally clicked for me only just recently of like because I think because we're told so often like you have to talk the whole time you're streaming. You have to be entertaining the whole time you're streaming. But like I don't see myself as a performer or an entertainer. I really just see myself as just like a person engaging in a community like you were saying Anusha. And so it's like as a person who's hanging out in a community, when you're if we're all in a room together and we're all hanging out and we're having different conversations, you don't talk the whole time.
Yeah.
You have
Right,
moments
exactly.
and like that for me, I don't really like hanging out in streams and there's nothing wrong
Hmm.
with how those people choose to like I'm never meaning that someone else's way is wrong, but for me, I don't like watching, I don't like doing, and I don't like engaging in communities where I do feel like it's all just one big performance because it feels very like it's draining for me. It feels like it's I don't know. I'm like I go watch a YouTube video for a curated presentation. I'm here to just like vibe. And
Yeah,
streams where I feel like I can genuinely just vibe and like pop in and pop out of chat as I please and like just really kind of go with the flow. Like that is what that's where those are the corners of this part of the internet I like to be a part of.
I agree. Something I've been working on recently, and let me know how you feel, is being comfortable with silence while I stream
Yeah.
because I'm reminding myself that it's not actually silent. There's gameplay, maybe, there's maybe some soft music in the background. People are doing other things while they watch the stream. And so, as someone with anxiety, that's really hard because I feel like I have to be talking, I have to be
Fill the
engaging.
space.
You fill the space, exactly. But I've been, especially as I've been exploring new games,
Yeah.
my chat's been quieter. There's been less viewers. It's been quieter. People are maybe just leaving a lurk because they don't want to watch scary games or whatever it may
Yeah.
be. And I appreciate that so much. But so chat's not always there's I could go 5 minutes without someone chatting sometimes. And like that is something that's very new to me.
Yeah.
But I just have been reminding myself there's people here. They're vibing, I'm playing a game. Why do I need to constantly fill the space? I don't, you
And like
know?
I think Anusha's statement earlier relates to that so well about how like viewing Twitch thinking about Twitch as a viewer sometimes. Because as a
Yes.
viewer, I have absolutely been in streams where people get a little bit quiet or they take a pause and it does not bother me in the slightest.
It's like
So
taking a
I
breath.
do
It's
not know
natural.
where we get this idea that like all your viewers are going to click off and disappear if you
Yeah.
don't talk all the time. And granted, like I know some of it comes from if a new person comes in and you're not saying anything. But if
They
that
want,
new
yeah.
person, I don't usually don't speak for more than like a minute or so. So if that new person is not willing to hang out for like 60 seconds before something gets said or doesn't want to say something in chat to encourage something, then you'll be on your merry way and go find someone that's gonna make you
Right.
happy. Cause like I just can't. I want streaming to feel like sustainable, and I
Hmm.
think in order for it to be sustainable, it needs to be, um, it needs to be authentic. I need to feel like I don't need to force anything.
Yeah. And
Uh,
like you said, Anusha, like a viewer, like thinking about just sitting in a room together hanging out. Would unless we're drunk, like we're not all going to be talking all at the same time for every moment. Like that's ridiculous. Of course there's going to be some moments of silence and chill and whatever, and that's totally okay.
I I hate to say it, but it's kind of hypocritical of me. I kind of disagree. So,
Please do.
after all the preaching that I just did, I kind of like thought about it for a second. And I was like, I I don't know. I feel like I am my authentic self when I do stream, but I do like going live when I have the most amount of energy because for me, I'm the kind of person who I want to go live when I'm happy, right?
Hmm.
I want to go live when I have a lot of energy and I can bring that sort of like happiness to other people's lives because I am radiating it. And so for me, when I go live, I take like at least 30 minutes before I go live to like do some self-care and like hang out just with myself, kind of realize that, hey, I'm having fun. I'm going to have fun today playing Animal Crossing. And that's when I realized that my engagement, just from a statistical point of view, is so much higher because people see me actually enjoying what I'm doing. And I do have to admit, I am very exaggerated in my reactions. I like being exaggerated. I like going back into my VODs, watching and being like, oh my God, I was so fucking happy at that time, you know? And then there is just like a totally different vibe when you come into my stream at 12 a.m. PST, right? It's like 3 a.m. EST, it's 2 a.m. CST, whatever have you. And I'm just crying on stream. I'm like, today was such a fucking horrible day. I hated it, yada yada yada. And I'm just quiet and I'm like, I don't want to be here. But I'm just playing my comfort game because this is my space. This is a space that I create for however I am feeling at that particular point.
Well, I was gonna say, like,
So
I don't feel like that's necessarily like, I don't think that is contrary to anything that I was trying to say. It's just like being able to be both of those things is really
yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful, right?
And
Like,
also, you can view streaming and how you want to stream however you choose. Like
exactly.
we're all completely different in how we do things in many aspects. But that doesn't make any of us any less authentic. I don't feel.
I literally have a command in my stream called exclamation point breathe because I just talk and talk and talk and I forget to breathe. And so like what my mods have this thing that they have to like just spam that command when I'm not breathing. I'm like, oh shit, okay, let
That's
me
a
take a
good
second
one.
here.
That's good advice.
When I say like when I say like performance, I don't mean someone who's like genuinely enjoying what they're doing. I mean, I've definitely experienced interactions with people who are performing, and then when you have a conversation with them later, they're like not enjoying what they're doing. It's not,
Mhm.
they're not authentically happy and excited. It's like a performance they think they have to do, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No,
It
that definitely
does.
makes sense.
Yeah, because like me, I'm very different from both of you because I have an acting background. That's been my whole
Exactly. I
life.
was gonna
So
say
for
that.
me, streaming, I do view streaming as a performance because I anytime I get on camera or on stage or whatever, I'm bringing all of those skills into what I'm doing. That's my background. Of course I'm doing that. Why wouldn't I? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not performing in a sense that I'm being someone different. I'm
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
being myself.
I think it's like putting your best foot forward for
Hmm.
me. So I'm the kind of person I've gone live and ended stream in 30 minutes because I'm just like, fuck this. I'm not feeling it today. I'll see you all next time.
Good for
Or
you.
or it's been like an hour long stream. I refuse to push myself to the point that I am not happy doing what I'm doing. It it's an icky feeling for me. I don't want to go into someone's stream and just feel like they don't want to be there. You know,
Hmm.
if they don't want to be there, why would I want to be there?
Yeah.
Right.
I think maybe it's because I come from like a disability background, but for me, if I were to only stream every when I was able to like put my best foot forward, I would not
You'd
be
never
able to
stream or not stream as often,
exactly.
Yeah.
right? Not never. Sorry, I don't mean that. You'd
No,
not
but
stream as often.
genuinely, like there are few and far between days where both with mental and physical health and fatigue and everything that I would consider like an ideal day where I'm like, I'm ready, I feel good,
Right.
I feel on top of my shit, like let's go. I'm super excited to stream perfectly. And like realistically speaking, I that's just not sustainable. I can't just only stream when I
Right.
feel my best, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't sometimes cancel or don't end early if like I'm really not feeling it. I think there's a difference between not enjoying myself and not feeling it 100%. But
Mhm.
the reality in my life is that the days that I do feel 100%, rarely can I actually dedicate that time to streaming. Because of
Wow.
the way
Yeah.
that like things work in my life, so much gets overwhelmingly like ignored and unable to be addressed because I just don't have the stamina that like on those days unfortunately that has to go to like um tasks that executive dysfunction have been causing me to ignore like phone calls and things like that and um like laundry and cleaning my house and being a good roommate and being
Mhm.
like
Doing life things.
reconnecting with friends who I've been unable to like respond to. And so um I just have to create a space where I can come and be at whatever percent I'm at that day,
Mhm.
whether that's more chill or more hype or more whatever it is. But that doesn't mean that I don't totally like respect other people's way that they choose to stream as more of a performer. I just can't maintain that. That's just not like physically possible for me to. And I know that a lot of my community is also neurodivergent and disabled, and so for them that's also not sustainable, and I don't want them to feel like they can't come in on days that they're just like horizontal. I have a lot of friends who are just like proper lurkers and they come in on horizontal days, and I know because I've been that person. They're just like sat on their bed basically half asleep but can't sleep because chronic pain, so they're just like watching, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that's how everyone's like community is different, everyone's style is different. I think that's very beautiful. I actually really like that.
But the thing that you both just did that you may not realize is even in putting your antithesis on how you do things, you both talked about how transparent you are about your feelings. And this is something
That's
that I
true.
look up to in both of you is that, like Anusha, not feeling stream 30 minutes into it. Okay, stream's over. Like, good for you. Why should you continue to do something if you are not
Agreed.
enjoying it, if you can't give your best? And on the other side of the coin, B is, you know what? I'm not having a great day today. I am low energy. I am low spoons, but I'm here. I'm doing it because, this is what I have to give today. And the fact that you can both be transparent is inspiring and very helpful to others who are going through the same thing. It
Thing
really
is,
is.
I think like what B said really resonates hard in the sense that uh, a PhD brings with it like a shit ton of anxiety. So you can be doing something right the first day and then it all goes to hell the next day. So
Yeah.
it's very erratic in the sense that when I go live, I'm not feeling this deep pit in the bottom of my stomach where I'm just like, I'm gonna get an email and they're gonna kick me out of PhD, which is not gonna happen. But like, it's that it's that feeling, and I've expressed it a lot of the times on stream as well, where I'm just like, something's gonna happen, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Um, but I do see streaming as like an escape for myself at the very least, where I'm not looking at my phone, I'm not looking at my laptop. I'll deal with the world once I'm done. I
It's you
just want to be
time.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Anusha time.
So like when you ask me, what do I do when in like my free time? I stream.
Same. That's
You
why I was like, I don't know how to answer this, but yeah, mostly the same.
like you would probably see me go live 2 times a day when I was in Santa Barbara, like doing my PhD. You would see me go live in the early hours of the morning or like the really, really late evening streams. And so many people have told me, how do you stream every single day as well as like twice a day most of the times? I was like, because I am a very, very anxiety ridden person. And I just want to escape the world most of the times. And I use Animal Crossing as a background and you all as like my therapists almost. And so I go live and I'm like, oh shit, I'm with friends. This is awesome. Let's party,
Hmm.
you know? So it's definitely my safe place. Definitely the place that I come to feel some semblance of happiness when the world looks like absolutely bleak. And B, I'm sure you feel the same way when you're not feeling the best on your days, but you go live and you're like,
It
my community is
usually
here,
makes me feel better, yeah. Like
Hmm.
it usually
right?
gives me serotonin versus like taking away. But I agree with you on the days that I just feel like it's not happening. Like it's
Yeah,
just not, I'm not feeling any better. I'm just, it's not. If I at all feel like I'm being inauthentic,
yeah,
I'm done.
Yeah.
Like that's it for me.
Hmm.
Like I'm out. Like I'm like, okay, this is just not the day. Um,
yeah,
or it's time to wrap up. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like so I agree. I feel like we're all like kind of on the same wavelength, but just maybe with like slightly different variations in how we approach it. But I agree with Jupiter that like among us and also just genuinely among the streamers that I'm willing to watch and support, transparency is probably one of the values that like you have to have for me to
Yeah.
be
Hmm.
interested in being a part of what you're doing.
I think
I
it's
agree.
just kind of weird though, and this is kind of an aside from what we were talking about, but transparency amongst streamers is so important, but also amongst other streamers who come into your stream for a agenda in mind.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if like either of you have experienced that exchange where you can see it that like this person is coming in to network to network. You know
Hmm.
for a fact that they're coming in to gain something out of you, and you're like, oh, I don't know how I feel about you.
I've really learned. I mean, I've it's been over a year and a half now that I've been streaming, which feels so long and so short at the same time. And I've really just learned to, it doesn't bother me anymore. If someone's going to
Yeah.
come in and try to self promote, my community is not going to leave my stream for that
Yeah,
because that's inauthentic, and people will feel that even
Yep.
as a viewer, you know? So if they want to do that, I'm not even going to take time out of my day to really worry about that, because what that's going to bring them and what that's going to take away from me is very minimal at best.
yeah, true, true.
Yeah.
So, but then I just know, I remember later when I, come across that person again, I will remember that interaction and I will move differently around
Just
them.
keep my
But
distance a little bit, like keep my
yeah.
space. Yeah. I full heartedly agree that there was a point where I just had to kind of let go of those types of things. Like the same thing, I was recently asked what I think someone should do if they recognize that someone is very directly copying their content. Like
Oh God,
Oh yeah, this
yeah,
is
potentially
a good
like
question.
exactly the way also like Anusha, Jupiter, yell at me if you have to leave. I know we're over time, but I'm also
oh,
just
I
like
didn't realize.
vibing.
We could
Sorry
Um
about
finish
that.
this up.
but I was asked that and I just frankly I just told them like I don't really think it's worth your time and energy to try to fight that. That's going to happen in this space. Is it annoying? Sure, of course. And you're allowed to feel however you feel about it and like don't make yourself pretend that you're not frustrated with it. And of course if you want to like block, mute, like keep your distance from that person, totally like your boundaries are your boundaries. Um but the reality of the situation is that you cannot let every single person who does stuff like that like take your energy. Every person who tries to come and network in your chat inappropriately, every person who tries to copy your content, you would absolutely go bananas if you try to keep up with worrying about all of it. And also like arguably like Jupiter said, and Jupiter and I, this is another one of those topics I think that comes up every week. It's not going to land in their community the way it's going to land in yours because it was created by you with a certain thought process and a certain set of ideas and values that are aligned with your community.
I think what is pivotal in this, at the very least, from where I was coming from, is that when a new person comes into chat and they kind of like love bomb you. So they give you all the bits, they give you all the subs, and they show you that you're their best friend, that you're their safe space, and they kind of self promote at the same time. And then all of a sudden, a week has gone by, they start streaming, and that's it. That's the end of it. So
Yeah,
it's a
someone
very
new is
big
definitely
drop.
different. Is definitely different from like someone you know well.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I don't know, it kind of feels like you've lost a friend and that it wasn't the most genuine friendship that was supposedly in your head. And then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, how have you been?
Yeah, it's
Disheartening.
hard, you know. It really is a little disheartening, and something that I've dealt with again and again and again. And as I've said, I've had to learn to let things roll off my shoulders as people come in and I love your layout. I love your aesthetic. DMs. How did you do this? How did you do that? And I will tell people. I will always share information. I will always share websites or sources because for so many people that will ask, it's marginalized communities, it's marginalized identities. And if I can help them in any
Absolutely.
way, of course I want to do that. Are they going to maybe leave my community and not be a viewer anymore and do their own thing? Sure. But guess what? That's going to happen either way, whether they ask me, whether they
It's
look it up
the
on YouTube.
literally the
So I
life
think
cycle of
it
Twitch.
is.
That's
Yeah.
how.
I used to take these things so seriously. I'm telling you, for the first like 9 months to a year of streaming, like I would lose sleep over these things. And I'm like, I'm never going to continue to grow in this space if I let this
Yeah.
bother me, because this
Very
is
true.
just a normal part of the content creator experience. But
Very
that does not
true.
mean that it's easy. That does not mean that it's easy. Or that you won't have negative feelings attached to it. But I think trying to learn to let those things roll off your shoulders a little bit, it will do you so much
Yeah.
good.
And having people in spaces you can rely on to vent those feelings to
Hmm.
and be able to express them without any hesitation, without
Yes.
necessarily like, with also recognizing that, okay, like Twitter is not therapy, so let's not.
Are you sure?
I'm quite sure. I think we need to learn our lesson, right? That like there's a journal, there's a therapist, there's your friends. That some of these, like
Yeah.
taking the time, what is the issue, and where and how should this issue be worked through? Is
Hmm.
I think too many people think it's on the Twitter timeline when it really should be with your friends or
Yeah.
like
Private
dealing.
mod chat. Private
Private mod
mod chat.
chat, like have a space to, yeah, absolutely, all of this. And like,
Same thing with like trauma dumping as well on stream.
yes,
Like, no,
please. Oh my god. Yes, please. Please stop.
not here. I'm okay.
Do
Thank
you,
you.
I'm always tempted to say, do you want me to trauma dump back? Because I don't think you're ready.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't I don't
exactly.
think you're ready to open this
And like,
chapter.
obviously, if I'm initiating a deeper conversation about something more serious and it's in alignment with what we're talking about,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
very different
that's
because
different.
everyone in the chat at that point is essentially like
Vulnerable.
consenting to what's
Right.
Yeah.
happening. We moved here naturally. But if you come into my chat and I don't know you, and or I do know you, but we're having a good old time, we're just like playing some game, and you're just like, this terrible thing happened in my life. It's like,
Yeah.
how am I supposed to I don't know what you want me to do for you.
It's really sad because these people like clearly just want to talk to someone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But we're not those people to be talking to. We have no training in this, and sometimes like giving free therapy is the worst thing that you can do for a person because you don't know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
And
And you
And
don't
it's
know what they need.
yeah,
You have no way to know.
and you don't want to be that person that they're turning to if they're having something like very bad thoughts about
and
very
then
certain
say the
things.
wrong thing or something that
Yeah.
is more
Right.
damaging than it is helpful, but also like, I think sometimes people do not really, yeah, parasocial relationships definitely, but also like something people don't necessarily think about as a viewer sometimes is, I like to think sometimes like, how would this work if we were all in a room together? And if we were all in a room together having a conversation, you would not do that. We were all like
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
giggling and laughing and talking about, I don't know, sunshines and rainbows. You wouldn't come in and be like, actually, my grandma died today.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And you're like, you just wouldn't do
And the
that.
worst part is that like a lot of the times it feels very attention seeking, so you don't
Yeah.
know if it's true or not, and you
Hmm.
don't know exactly how to respond. Like you want to be empathetic, of course you do. You want to provide as much support as possible, but it's so difficult to navigate those situations when you're live and even like
It
one
is.
person is watching you. It's so awkward because you're just like, my heart goes out to you, but there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can say to make you feel better in the moment that you are in, except for
Right.
I hope that I can somehow make your day slightly brighter than it has been. You know, there's nothing
Yeah.
I can do.
Now let me let you in on a little unknown secret here.
Ooh,
Unknown secret
spicy.
from Jupiter, okay?
I'm ready.
Don't ever, ever, ever feel bad if you just ignore the message.
Oh yeah,
The
definitely.
message does not exist to me. If I am
Yeah,
not equipped to deal with something like that, which I am not in most
yeah,
cases, I will simply, I don't perceive it. I cannot, because what will I add that will make the situation better?
yeah,
Maybe there's a 5 to 10% chance that I'll do that, but I'm not banking on that. And I
Yeah.
don't want to make this person's day worse. And they need to realize that there is etiquette, even on Twitch,
Yeah.
even on the gamer platform, that you need to learn to adhere to as a human being.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
know
I
that's
always
harsh,
I always try
but
to take an educational approach because I will say there were a lot of Twitch taboos I did a lot in the beginning of
me
streaming that
too.
I genuinely had no idea, and I have had such uncomfortable interactions. I had someone block me and then I was like, "Hey, like what happened? I thought we were friends. What's going on?" And apparently they had this like list of things that I had done that were like Twitch taboos, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I
what?
was
That's
literally
weird.
so new to the platform that I had no idea that
Huh?
I was upsetting them by like so I didn't know early in Twitch you were not supposed to talk about the fact that you stream at all.
Yes, me too.
Even like because for me I think that's the silliest thing. Obviously I don't want you to come into my chat and be like, "Oh, I'm streaming now. Come follow me." That
Yeah, yeah,
but like if you ask me what I did with my day and I streamed for 5 hours and now I'm here in your stream and you're asking me maybe I like I don't know, I rated you or something and you're like, "What have you been doing?"
Of
What am
course
I
you're gonna talk
supposed to
about it.
say? You
That's
know,
not a
so
real taboo.
and like it was other things as well and I don't really want to get into like individual things so that this person if somehow somebody's but I'm not trying to start drama but my point is just that it's very important to communicate what those boundaries are so people can learn and people can grow because I feel like if people had been really mean to me other than this like one interaction that I had um I could have possibly been the person many times who was like doing something that was upsetting someone so like again transparency communication give people a chance
Mhm.
and then at that point if they continue to be disrespectful then of course uphold your boundaries but it's like I've definitely had people come in do something sort of not socially acceptable in the Twitch space and then I've said hey like here's you probably shouldn't do that and here's why and genuinely had them be like oh like okay sorry and just like keep hanging out as a person
I
so I
agree.
don't know it's a hard line to toe but I do think it's important.
I think it's just kind of weird because my dog died, and then that very week, someone came in and they're like, didn't know them, didn't know who they were, any of that. They came in and they're like, my dog died today, yada yada. I was like, fuck.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
it
And
can
that's the
be
thing, you never
triggering.
know what the streamer is going through as
Yes,
well. So like just don't.
it's
Please be
sad.
mindful. Oh my
We
gosh.
are humans too. I know people forget that. They do. They think we are content machines,
Humans of
but
Twitch.
we are humans just like everyone else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agree.
Shall I is it I feel like we should ask Anusha one like final questions cuz we just
Yeah.
like
Is this gonna
chit-chatted which
be
was
a
beautiful and
spicy
wonderful
question?
but I don't think it's very spicy.
I mean, you
I
can ask me a
think I'm
spicy one.
very
I'm just joking.
I'm very you've talked a lot about your vision for the next like few years and how your vision has changed too as to what you thought you might want in the future. And I feel like I we talk a lot about how we want to talk about people's joy here as well. So I would very much love to end on a note of like, what do you hope to accomplish in the next 5 years? Where do you hope that you will be in your journey?
So do you want like a, big picture plan, or do you want like, oh, the realistic plan?
Whatever one you want to share, you choose.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the big picture because if I shoot for the moon, maybe I'll land in the stars somewhere. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Uh,
You will.
so I want to be, I want to be in like the 1,000 viewer count where I'm earning enough that I wouldn't feel bad about not getting a regular job.
Yeah.
So like I said, I want to make a life for myself where everything that I didn't have growing up as a child, I can have. And I that's kind of weird, but my mom has always wanted to have a house that she has built from scratch, and she is 50 years old, going on 52, I believe. And I don't want her to be old enough to the point that she's not able to see her dream come true. So I want to be successful enough alongside my brother that we can provide the money, an unlimited amount of money to her so that she can buy her plot of land, buy all the furniture she needs, and place that first brick down herself in the house that she's always wanted. So that's my dream. I just want to be that successful that money is not a materialistic thing. Money is not something that would matter.
Wanting
So that's
financial security, especially also coming from a background where we were like lower income, there were times bills were not paid, like
yeah.
is not materialistic.
Mm,
Sam said that in chat earlier, and we had kind of moved on from the topic, so I didn't bring it up. But I hope that you know that I've spoken about this many times, but as a disabled person who objectively, like as every year goes on, has less like physical and mental stamina to work a normal job, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for the level of financial stability so many people with like a greater level of privilege have access to in this society. We don't look at them and be like, how dare you want that? You know what I mean? So I think coming from our perspective, we should also be able to want that and talk about that and like
absolutely.
destigmatize desiring having a reasonable income every month on what you like doing just
Hmm.
because Twitch is terrible about the percentage it gives to its creators and community is involved doesn't mean it can be community and also have a desire to succeed in that way.
I definitely
Absolutely.
think that like 5 years down the line, I want to be the kind of person that I can look up to.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm not that person, and it's very easy to admit it because I'm just not. So I think like 5 years down the line, I want to be someone that is like Ludwig or Saikuno or someone like that. So I want to put my heart, my soul, my ass, all of it into it. And I don't know. I hope that's a good enough answer. Like I'm gonna accomplish my dreams one way or another.
Hell yeah.
So that is my goal.
Everyone is saying they believe in you in chat. I don't know if you're looking at it, but everyone's
Let's go.
we're all rooting for you. It's truly I'm very happy that I found this corner of Twitch, and of course there's been
Hmm.
a couple outliers, but for the most part, the people that I engage with, we all know that we all are kind of going for the same thing, but it's a very positive like hell yeah, let's both do it. Like we can do it
Yeah,
together, not,
exactly.
Also, do not forget that there is more than enough room at the table for
hell yeah.
everyone to eat on this
Yep.
platform. There
Yep.
are enough viewers, there is enough
Yes.
money in the world.
Yep.
We are not in competition with one another. We are a community, and don't forget it.
And I
I think the best
100%
part is that it's not a competition. It's a
exactly.
cooperation. So like
Hmm.
if I'm going
Yes.
up, the three stream teams I'm in, they're all going up with me.
That's right.
Exactly. In
You know,
every corner, and this is again, I love the people I surround myself with because in every twist and turn, if I get an opportunity, I'm asking whether or not they're interested in any like having more creators join. And if they are, I'm poking people I think are well deserving and who would, absolutely deserve to see get access to whatever I have access to. And I
Yeah.
think everyone around me is the same. And community over competition is, if you don't believe in that, then we can't be friends.
Absolutely.
Sorry, that's just like a hard line there for that for me.
Agree.
Yeah, that's the baseline.
I mean, I am of the mind that like I can sit here and talk for hours, so please shut me up. Just like shut the fuck up, Anusha. But but I am of the mind that like I think literally everyone that I've engaged with on this platform is just as deserving, if not more, than I am of the things that I am shooting for.
Mhm.
So if I see someone who is literally the exact same as me, like you're going up with me. We're gonna do lobbies. We're gonna like build platforms where we can engage because you deserve it and you need to believe in it just as much as I do. And that's it. That's the end goal of it. Like B, you coming up with this podcast, fucking genius. Let me just put that out there. Literally absolutely fucking genius. I don't know what goes through your head, what prompts you to be like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have a big brain today. And here you are with like humans of Twitch and Jupiter. Like, what the hell? Literally, what the hell? You both are such amazing creators. So me coming here and being an absolute big open book and saying, oh, I want to do this is kind of like an open invitation to anybody that's listening, anybody that I know personally, or anybody that I also don't know who is a marginalized creator of some sorts. Let me help you.
I'm
Like,
also, can I just say I'm so proud of you, Anisha, because I do know, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's a little bit intimidating sharing the big picture goal. I don't know why it feels that way. Like, to feel like, I don't know. Sometimes I get scared to share like the things that I truly, truly want and like what level I want them at. So thank you for like, I don't know, being willing to do that. And I think
I
I
think it's
speak for
a
everyone here that we believe you have all of the skills necessary to do it.
I
Mhm.
think it's the same thing as people like hiding the collaborations that they're doing or not sharing the links. It does not make any sense. It literally does not. I want you to know what goal I have so that you can help me achieve, so that you can see the potential in me, right? I don't want this to be, if I'm doing bad in streaming, for fuck's sake, like message me and tell me that, hey, you did a shit job today. I want to know, I want feedback. I don't want to be in this journey alone because there is no point in it being alone.
Mhm.
There is no, you're not going to steal my success,
I think I
right?
need like weekly therapy calls with Anusha.
I agree.
I need like weekly Anusha
It's
reminders
our weekly
because
reality check with Anusha.
no, but I agree with you, and I don't. I feel like that in that side of things, the transparency is not always there, and that's something what you just said about like, in order for me to achieve my goals, I need to communicate those with people and let
Mhm.
you know how you can support me. I agree with that. It's something that I got to learn really early on in this journey. From Jude, actually, I think is one of the creators that really spoke about that. Like, your community doesn't know what you're
Yeah.
trying to achieve as a community. Because, again, if you think of it as a collective and you genuinely, then as a community, they need to know what goals you're shooting for as a community.
Mhm.
Um, but I have a lot of unlearning to do in terms of people pleasing from experiences that I've had in my
Same.
life, and in shrinking myself to be very small,
Yeah.
and feeling I can only set that, being afraid that somebody else is going to look at whatever big goal I say and think to themselves, oh, they're never going to do that. And that's fine. That's right. Like, they can think that, but I have a
Let them
really,
think it.
I'm trying to get to a point where I really believe that, you know what I mean? Like, let them think whatever they think, and that is going to karmically come back negatively on them more than it is going to ever affect me. But I have a lot of like internalized shrinking myself down small that I need to like work through to get to that level of confidence. So that's why I was like, I need a weekly Anusha therapy session where Anusha's like, B, listen, get it together. And we can
I
like review each other's streams and be like, okay, this is where we're working, like
I
just
mean,
very.
I will
strategic and
literally
thoughtful.
like I love strategizing. So this is like an open invitation to both of you, to anybody that's watching. I fucking love statistics. I mean, I hate it when I'm doing for school, but I love I love watching anything that is related to how do you grow? How do you be successful? Watching
Yeah.
success stories for
Well,
like Twitch streamers and whatnot, and everyone's path is different.
that's why I like
But
doing my assistantship work because it's all strategic planning. It's all
yeah,
looking at where are you, where do you want to be, and what. Not necessarily, I always tell people I cannot guarantee growth because, again, we're on an algorithm, right? But
yeah,
what strategies can we put in place and see how they go? What can we
Hmm.
try? What can we, and how do we just continually grow? That's always my goal. That's the goal of the people that I like to spend my time with, is like I want to grow as a creator, and not necessarily always numerically. That's always a component of it, but I also just want to grow and like have my content get a little better, learn more,
Yeah.
improve, you
Grow
know.
as a person.
I mean, a
Absolutely.
secret that like one of my mods told me. So yeah, don't tell everybody. I'm just joking. Tell all the people that you want. It's a very well-known trait in the book, right? It's consistency.
Hmm.
So you need to have a consistency across all platforms that you share content on. The time that you're sharing content on, how many times do you share content? What kind of content are you
Oh no,
sharing?
Anusha, you're gonna get me going again because I have a very
Do it, B. Do
I
it. I
think
don't
it's
fucking
more.
care.
I think
I have a
I feel
very
like I
controversial
know what
opinion
B's
about
gonna say.
consistency.
I know what
Tell
B's gonna
me.
say. I know what B's gonna
Tell
say.
me.
And I
Consistency on this like notion that gets pushed that consistency is a requirement for success is unfortunately like a very ableist sentiment.
Oh, I
Because
agree
like
100% in that sense. Like
disabled
that's
people can't keep up with that, and I've seen disabled creators be successful without that like very curated sense of consistency. And somebody once said to me, like, I had to sit down and think about how I wanted to define consistency because I do think it's important, as you were saying, like a cross platform. I think if you go to my Twitter, if you go to my TikTok, if you come to my Twitch stream, the energy is
yeah.
consistent.
so
You
that's what I was gonna
know
say.
exactly
I
what you're
think that's
going to
more
get.
important
But in terms of like how often you have to
than
post, how
numbers.
often you have to stream, how scheduled your streams have to be, I think all of that is just a bunch of hubbub. Honestly, I think it's just baloney. I mean, do I think the algorithm obviously favors people who, you know, can consistently post? Yes, of course. I'm not like ignorant to how these systems work. But I think by ignoring all of that hubbub, you're actually setting yourself up for a way greater sense of sustainability. Because I'm not pushing myself to meet some arbitrary expectation of how often I post. Instead, I'm providing like the best content that I can
Quality
put out
content.
when I
Yeah.
can put it out. And honestly, foundationally, my community and the conversations we've had, like they feel like as community members, from what I've heard, I hope so, I hope it continues to feel this way, that feels more genuine than like a forced consistent like I'd rather see you post on TikTok, you know, twice a week and really like what you're doing and comment on it and engage with it and be excited about it than see you try to post every day and it's just like the same thing everyone else is putting out and it's not really very genuine to
I
you.
definitely
I
agree with that.
I
Sorry,
do
Jupiter.
think that if you're able to be consistent with the algorithm, it can help you. Yes, because we know that these things are in place. We know that these systems are what they are. And I don't think
Right.
that there's anything wrong with trying to do that to help grow your content. But, and I this does speak to B's point, I think being consistent in who you are,
Yep.
what you believe in, what you stand up for, and what your content looks like as a whole is what's important. I think that that's where the
Definitely.
genuineness comes out. And to me, that's the most important type of consistency. And I think any type of person can achieve that. I really do. I think that's
Yep.
just being your genuine self. And that type of consistency can work really, really well.
Yep. That's I probably should have brought that up first rather than putting it as like the last point. But I definitely agree. I think that consistency in the form of definitely like the type of content that you're putting out in terms
Mm-hmm.
of not shifting too much from the kind of person that you are. So
Agreed.
you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be coming into a new week with a chameleon like personality that, oh, this is
Yes.
working today, so I'm gonna be all chaotic, or like this
Yeah.
is working today, so I'm gonna be all cozy. Like for Maddie Shortcake, right? Her brand is
Cute.
cutesy,
Yeah.
right? Her brand is all pink and Barbie and like she's
Wholesome.
adorable. I want to go into Maddie's stream for Maddie because I know her as a person now,
Yeah.
right? I know her likes and dislikes. And so I definitely agree with that. And I'm so sorry if my take came off as like
No,
ableist.
it's more, I'm more yelling at the universe than I was yelling at you, Anusha, because I just get there. So it's not the way that you framed it, it's the way that it gets framed so often on social media. And I will never forget. It just resonates so negatively in my mind that there was this one really big partnered streamer who was, there was like a Twitch thread that was going around, and like someone asked, could we get feedback from partners as to what they think is the fundamental piece, that like kind of any advice they have or things that we should consider, right? And the thread was filled with amazing information, and I was really grateful that they took the time and energy. But there was this one person, and I think that again, this is a system problem, not this person's problem. But the way that they worded it was essentially, consistency in your schedule is the most important thing to see success. It is the most fundamental factor as to whether or not you'll be successful. I have been streaming for X number of years, and we have only ever been late to stream twice. And I was
Oh, good
just
for
like,
them.
this just feels like a brag. It also feels like you have zero semblance of understanding of lives of anyone who has ever struggled ever. Like, good
Mm.
God, have you ever had any mental health crisis?
Oh
Have
God.
you ever, are you a parent who has
Yeah.
children who are unpredictable? Are you sick on a consistent basis? Do you have a shift job? You clearly don't have a job where your job has to change every week, which is a luxury. Like, it's just,
I do
it,
think that they were speaking from their experience though. So their
And that's
experience
the
is all
thing.
they know about.
Yes. And that's the thing.
So
Look,
it's
another piece of
not
secret
negative to them. I don't mean it
information
to
with
them.
Jupiter is a lot of people on this platform, a lot of people who are partnered. Yes, that's what worked for them because guess
yeah.
what? They are not marginalized in any
Yep.
way,
Yep.
for most likely.
I
So
mean, one
they're
of
able to get
the
on and stream and have no
yeah,
worries and have a consistent schedule. And that's all they have to do. Great for them. That's never going to be our
definitely
life.
like
That's
one of
never
the
going to be our
things
life. We just have to accept that.
one of the things that I posted on Twitter, and I was feeling really bad about my identity as like a brown person. I'm fucking brown. Like, if you stand next to me, I am gonna look like really tanned, right? And it's
Brown is
very
beautiful.
and listen. So many people have called my eyes like poop colored. So thank you very much.
Not that.
I've called my eyes poop colored, but in a sense, like I'm wholly poop colored, right, at this point. But it's just like the whole world is very Eurocentric, right? The whole world is kind of shifting towards uh being white. Like growing up, we had this cream in India, it's called Fair and Lovely. So you want to be as white as possible, even in a country like India where everyone is brown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, this is great. And my mom always used to say, your complexion is so nice. You're so dusky skin tone. And I was like, oh, great, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm pretty. But then I realized, I was like, holy shit, this like darker skin tone person is so much prettier than I am. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I I posted on Twitter saying, I wonder if like people go into more creators who are white than they would like to come into my stream because I'm brown, because my accent's different, because I don't speak the same way as you do, because I don't understand the same innuendos as you do, because I just don't, I'm not white.
Yep.
And I was like, am I not doing well because I'm not white? Like, are people only coming in to support me because I'm brown? What is going on? Um, and so definitely like be with your take on like the ableist approach, it is very similar to um, if you're not in my shoes, you will never know what I've been through. If you're not in my shoes, you will never know what the people of my kind have been through.
Mm-hmm.
And very important to understand in that sense that like whatever things that we see on Twitter, whatever takes that we see, very individualistic. They don't cater to a group or to a society or to even streamers.
Yeah.
They're very, very like a consistent schedule. I don't have a consistent schedule. Like it's changing every week, right? I'm like, I'm gonna go live whenever I feel like it. I'm gonna go live whenever I am up to it. It's
We don't talk
it's
enough about how the Twitch
yeah,
is reliant on palatability
yeah,
in
exactly.
a multitude of different regards. So obviously from my life perspective, I speak a lot about neurodivergency and how a lot of times our streams are criticized for being weird or off or boring because of the way that we socialize and in the experience that you just expressed. And it's like there is part of it that's an algorithm. There is part of it that is society and a viewer's responsibility. That
Yeah,
you need to meet someone where they're at with their communication style, with their humor, and not just automatically only watch people who look like you, who act like you, who sound like you. Like, you have to choose to engage in a variety of different communities if you want to see all of the
exactly.
magic that is out there. And you are the
Exactly.
one missing out.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
are the one missing out. I guess, it doesn't make me sad sometimes, of course, but like, arguably, like, at my end of things, it is not my deal. You're the one missing out on incredible content creators because you will not expand your horizons in any kind of way.
I feel like it's a college, you know, it's like a university. You're fulfilling your diversity quota by having me in here. And that's one of the reasons why like I was so hesitant to apply to stream teams and whatnot. Like, are you choosing me because I'm brown? Are you
Yeah.
choosing me because I'm like the only brown person who plays Animal Crossing? What is this? Is my skin tone like a jewel that I'm presenting to you on a silver platter that you can accept and be like, oh look, diversity. I'm just like, oh
Well, and we know it happens because, you just saw Charisse talk about
yeah,
that not that long
yeah,
ago. Like,
yeah.
legitimately, that kind of thing happens. I think a lot of people are like, that doesn't happen. I'm like, you're ignorant as fuck.
Yeah,
You have no
exactly.
idea.
It's ridiculous. And Chippy, I know you have to hop off. I'm just talking and talking and talking. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No worries.
I'm not even in I was so entranced, I didn't even see what was happening. Sounds good.
Uh, yeah. What food are you gonna get?
I'm just gonna make breakfast.
Oh,
I
yes, I
I
forget.
wake up and do this on Sunday mornings. Like this is my first thing of the day.
What
It's very
what
early
time
for
is it
me.
for you again?
It's
Now?
10:30 now.
Okay.
We start at 8, so that's very early for me.
Hurts my
Yeah.
brain. Hurts me brain.
I'm not usually a person until 10 or 11 a.m. on most
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
You do
I
a
woke
very
up.
good job morphing
Yeah.
some version of a human onto
Thank
screen.
you. I try.
You're so put together with your eyeliner and whatnot, with your hair all done, your lights all set up.
Oh, this is my
Like,
natural hair.
it's beautiful. You're
Thank you.
absolutely gorgeous. As
I
are you, B. I
That's
just look at both of you and I'm like, oh my God, who am I talking to?
that's
Y'all,
how
I
we
love
feel
you
about you,
both.
Anusha.
the
Mm-mm.
gratitude I feel for this whole day and this whole conversation, honestly,
Mhm.
Anusha, you are like, I have loved every single conversation we have had on this platform so far, of course, but there's this interesting talent you have of really turning it into a more of a conversation than I felt like I was like
Not an
interviewing
interview,
you,
as we
which is
said.
how, like, that's the structure is very interview-esque, but um your brilliance and just your social ability and the way that you communicate is so easy to just feel like I was just genuinely sitting in my living room having a conversation with friends and
Mhm.
nobody was here. You know what I mean? Like, it was great. So thank you so much for your
Oh, thank you for having me.
time and
I
energy.
I was so scared to come here because I feel like I'm gonna get canceled for anything that I say, since I am very opinionated. But I honestly like I could have these conversations with you both every single day. You both are so incredibly knowledgeable in what you do. You have such different experiences than I do. And I feel like I learned something or the other, be it from your Twitter timeline, your streams, just you as people. So honestly, like just thank you for existing. Thank you for
I relate to that. I feel like that's how I feel after every single one of these. I'm just like, thank you all for existing. And
Mhm.
yeah,
everyone who hangs out with us in chat and shares their stories and their perspectives. Thank you all for existing with us in this space today. Amazing.
absolutely.
I
But yeah,
am good if you all are good. Thank you so much. I'm just gonna probably once we hop out of the call, pop over to just chatting and send us on our merry way to go say hello to someone. But
sounds
Okay.
awesome. Thank you for
Thank you,
having
everyone.
me.
Thank you
thank
for
you so
sharing space
much.
with us. Thank you, Anusha. You are amazing. Keep shining. I love you both so much. Happy Sunday.
Bye, beans.
Bye.
Bye, favorite people.
It always breaks when this happens. Please hold. Please, Discord. There's no way to like smoothly transition this because I have to go from the Discord camera to the webcam. So it's just kind of, it is what it is. There I am. Hello. Thank you all so much, everyone who's been hanging out with us and spending your afternoon with us. Hi, Icy. I'm gonna send us on our way. I'm gonna find someone nice and cozy because I feel like our chats are always super cozy, and I want to send us somewhere that's nice and safe place to ploop down after such a wonderful conversation. If you have to raid and run, that's absolutely fine. Do not feel bad whatsoever. I completely understand. These conversations can be beautiful, but also socially, it's a lot, So if you need to like hop off, it's completely understandable. Anusha, I love you. Jupi, I love you. If y'all not already following these absolutely wonderful content creators, we host everything here, but ultimately, these two put in just as much work and effort and everything as I did. So please make sure you show them some heckin' love. Um, let's go. Let's go raid someone. Let me get the raid messages going. Um, oh, that's broken. Hold on. Okay. Ignore that. Don't perceive what just happened. There's the raid message if you do have a sub and you have access to our emotes, and here is the raid message if you do not have a sub and you just use emojis to participate. We're gonna go see a wonderful fellow Suits Bright stream team member and someone whose community I like to hang out in a lot for the very, very cozy vibes. They are only started streaming like 40 minutes ago, so they should be live for a little while if you need like another safe place to land as you do your work or whatever you might be up to on this lovely Sunday. If you are part of my if you are part of my community and you're part of the Discord and you want to, we are watching Luca tonight for the good, queer, wholesome Disney vibes. So if you haven't seen Luca and you want to hang out, we are watching it at 9 p.m. CT. So if you want to be a part of the Discord, or if you are already a part of the Discord and you want to watch with us, feel free. Um, Other than that, I will be live again tomorrow at 12 p.m. CT, and we will be playing, continuing our Whimsy Stories Legacy playthrough in The Sims. I did play a little bit off screen, so I do have some things to show you and update you on. Sorry, I couldn't resist. So I'm excited for that. So I will see some of you tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you again so much for sharing this space with us every Sunday morning. Um, I adore you. Have a good day. Bye.